bus at the moment, no information about him. But today we are going to be casting Asia server. This is the Naval Force 9, their finals, and it's apparently going to be best of 5 on fault line. Don't know, wargaming, but... And now there seems to be some minor problems with the training room setup. Who knows? But, yeah. Oh, seems like 24 out of 24. So, yeah, organizationals. So, yeah, we're just trying to sort this out currently, but it's going to be Tier 8 versus Tier 8, 9 versus 9. Let's see what the meta seems to be like. I have not done any real research on these Asian teams. The only thing I know about them is that of me having played against them in the past with the Asia-EU show match. I said I never participated. I actually snuck my way into the second and third game, which is why we actually won, right? But yeah, it's going to be Asia Clan Mega versus Asia Clan Zoo, and let's see, I see 2 battleships, 1 carrier, double destroyers on one team. I mean, I can always just flick it like this so you can actually see what's going on, but the rooms are going to be reset because someone bugged it. Oh, this is currently seeming to be going quite well. So, well, let's I guess let's have a look at Okay, so we've got room recreation. So let's bail out of that one. And in the meantime, let's while we figure out that, let's go have a look at should be this button. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, here we go. Now we actually have a map going. So let's see, what do we have available for us on the fault line? Well, this used to be a tier 9 and 10 map. This used to be, pretty interestingly enough, a high tier map. So, well, we have these islands over here. The cap's going to be a tournament mode. I'm actually not sure how the spawns on that looks. I think it's the 1 cap here, 1 cap here. Let me just put them up on the marker. Should be like this, and then just buff that transparency up to maximum, and we should be able to get ourselves a white-looking cap circle. I think it's I'm pretty sure they're like this. I'm not actually sure at this point. I don't remember if they're big enough, but we shall see what happens. Something along the lines of that. I think it might be a bit smaller. I'm not exactly so sure, but if this is indeed the case, it means that there's going to be a lot of difficulty for anyone to really get the capture circles early. Of course, I don't know the exact capture layout that we have at this point, but we shall realistically just see. So yes, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this map's going to play out, because I personally have no experience on playing Fault Line at all in competitive, and it seems like someone's actually managed to show up. Bloody hell. Alright, let me see. Finally, Bukati Blast actually managed to show up. We would have appreciated it earlier, but hey, there we go. Let me just quickly get Bukaki Blast. Totally professionally organized, streaming right here, right? Really sorry for this, guys. Just need to check for him to show up. Just put that away so it's not on your screen. Right, there we go. It seems like we've actually gotten myself dragged onto the team now, so let's have a look and see how this will finally end up working out. But yes, let's have a quick look at the team lineups then while we wait. And let me quickly just double check on Bukaki if he's even showed up. No, he hasn't. What do we have? Let's see. That looks like... Ooh, is that a Kudasov? Is that an Edin lol? That looks like an Edin lol. Both in running Shokaku, because I believe that's reasonably standard. I think these are... Ooh, I'm not even sure about them at this point. But let's see, and we have a null there. Looks like someone's crashed out. That looks like an Autalol. North Carolina with an Armageddon in the background. I'm not sure if that's Armageddon or Key. So yeah, it looks like an interesting setup with a Kutuzov there as well. Likely going to be a smokescreen for the Edinlol, because this guy is probably going to be using radar. It's a very small map after all. Kutuzov on the other end with a Charles Baguette. Let's see, that looks like is that a... One of these is a Key, is it? No, I think they're both Armageddons. I think that would honestly make more sense overall. North Carolina, another Armagi. I should have probably gotten myself the mod. There we go. User was moved to your... Hello there.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up? I've already started my stream. We're just waiting for the folks to actually get themselves organized.
Okay. I have to talk to Jason because apparently the room is full somehow. I don't know how it got full without everyone there, but alright.
Yeah, the room is full because Uokot's team's there, and then there's I think there's another group, a casting group there on top.
Oh.
I'm actually not sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not me organizing it, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah, I think this is their first time doing. This is this guy's first tournament, so I'm gonna cut him some slack there. So.
Yeah, you live and learn. Like you said, the guy didn't even know about the training room limitation.
Yeah. Did you explain it to him?
It's been explained to him already.
Okay. Who's hosting the room?
It's Mike Ning, Uwakot's Chinese caster, co-caster.
Oh, okay.
Seems like there's a little bit of a minor bit of a mess going on right now, so I guess we're just waiting for that to get organized out right now.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I won't bother starting my stream if I don't know if I can actually watch the game, so I'll wait.
Really wish Wargaming would finally get themselves a proper organization into this kind of thing with the casting, so we don't have to have this cluster F of having to join ships and then suicide them into each other. That would be quite nice from Wargaming's end, but I guess it's not that high up on the priorities list at the moment.
Well, wasn't the what should I call it? Could that be coming out in the new training room? Since wasn't that supposed to come out next patch? I think or 7.0.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it does, because that would make life a lot easier.
It is, after all, Wargaming content, so you never really know what's going to happen with it. But, I mean, honestly, World of Warship development team has been doing a pretty good job overall of actually pushing out decent content on time. So, if they say it's going to happen like that, I do have, I think they could be able to do it. I mean, it's something that I believe they've been working on for quite a while. It would make sense, after all.
Yeah. What is this? 10 minutes delay is 600 seconds, right?
Yes, because 1 minute is 1 minute is 60 seconds.
Alright, well that's all set up. I just have to figure out if I can actually spectate now.
Indeed. I mean, this is definitely something new for me because, I mean, it's Fault Line tournament mode. I don't think I've ever played any competitive at all on this.
Wait, how is it full? There's 11 people.
It's 10-11 right now, and like we were full earlier. So like,
oh, there's Japanese guys.
Japanese casters are coming now. So there's a Chinese cast, a Japanese cast, then one extra, and me. I think that's what it seems like now. I'm not sure who that last one is.
I think the carrier is
The carrier is Oscar X-Ray is
yeah, that's Jason.
That's Jason, I know. Shigura and the Lightning is Uwakat's Chinese team. I believe. I believe.
Alright.
I think. And now it seems they're full. I'm not even sure what's going on at this point.
I don't know. I think he messed up some. How come? Aren't you normally able to have 3 teams of casters?
Yes, but I don't know, but there seems to be another. There's 2 teams, JP and CN, and then there's an extra that I'm not sure.
Who's the extra?
RNG Justice something. Justice is Seth. Well, it seems the teams are getting ready for battle, so perhaps try to organize that with Jason.
Yeah, I'm talking to him now.
And in that case, message me on TS if anything happens. I'm going to mute myself and actually go full esports mode, right?
Yeah, good luck.
It feels weird to go full ham esports commentating on something like World of Warships, but I guess let's see how bad it ends up, right? You know the really, really fast-paced commentary, right?
Yeah, of course.
let's try it and see how it works out. I'll get confirmation on how bad it is 10 minutes later due to delay. But yeah. Here we go. Loading into the match, we have Mega versus Zoo on our team. North Carolina, Amaki, Edinlol, Atako, and the Kutuzov with Kid and Loyang. Kid probably there to provide anti-aircraft. On the opponent's team, we have Xianjiang, tier 8, new Pan-Asian destroyer. As I need to mash my W button, I hope my opponent doesn't happen to have the, what is it again? Doesn't happen to have, Survivability expert, that'd be kind of unfortunate, right? The opponent team, Charles Baguette, Kutuzov, triple destroy, double kid, so this could be a very, very big problem for Danger05 in his Shokaku over there. Alabama, Amagi, so they have a little bit less anti-aircraft on their destroyers. Anyways, we're already seeing a large amount of pings going on the right side of the map, and it is in fact the standard battles modes, it is, in fact, standard battle modes spawned. We can see A, B, and C there. This is interesting. I did not definitely expect this. Having a look at the team deployments from our side, as the three noobs already get themselves blown up at the start of the match, we can see North Carolina and taking Tokitsukazakai with an Optigo heading towards the Charlie side of the map. They perhaps could be going alone, but because the opponent team Zoo having 3 destroyers, there is potential for these guys to have a pretty big advantage in their ability to contest the caps as this match starts developing. Also keep in mind they do have a Charles Baguette over there, which is an incredibly fast ship overall with a 4 minutes active time on its engine boost, allowing it to travel at a very, very good rate. We already happen to have some torpedoes. These are the aircraft carrier torpedoes using her torpedo bombers as an active scouting. Interesting decision over there. Normally, a lot of players use their dive bombers. We can see here is a dive bomber scout coming in. As if we have a look at this Shokaku, currently bidding completely stationary. No headwind launch coming from this Shokaku, delaying the launch a little bit. Of course, I cannot see the opponent team, and I will not know if that they are doing any headwind launch. But this dive bomber seems to have just overextended a little bit. Now gets caught by the fighter, probably about to go down, unless the opponent aircraft carrier does get some fighters in the area to support that. As the first shelling phase has begun, Kutuzov trying to shoot at the opponent Amagi over in the distance as more fighters are showing up. The opponent's carrier being rather passive with them, but with the friendly team. There you go, we can see the fighters being baited towards the kid. Already losing a plane. This dive bomber survives, but is currently ineffective. Although a one-plane dive bomber can still spot, but it will still be spotted and can be pressured away. Probably the opponent aircraft carrier now going to hide it, cycle it even, and try to make something useful with it. Otherwise, the Mega's Lol Yang is now pushed very aggressively into the middle of Bravo over there, tucking himself behind the island over there. Very difficult of a target to actually engage. And I think currently I need to actually, the one thing I forgot, I have not been casting for a while. I'm very sorry guys, this is my mistake. There we go. Now we can actually see what's going on all over the map. We can see, you know, more of the action, but Mega, despite being 1 destroyer down currently, are actually looking like they're going to be able to capture Bravo. Successful capture, going in with a little bit of points bleed, as you can see the Eden Lowland now probably providing anti-aircraft support for the fighters over there. Disengaged strafe, can we see a counter strafe in there? Too late, the Mega carrier does not manage to find a counter strafe on top of the opponent fighter, but still going for the tag. Now probably outside of the Eden Lowland's anti-aircraft range. Let's have a look at that. No, that is still definitely within Eden Lowland's anti-aircraft range, if it is a fully anti-aircraft spec Eden. That could be punishing over there, but the squad gets taken down from Mega's side, so that is a slight advantage. But I think they got wiped on the return path. That is an equal trade, which really doesn't go in anyone's favor at this point, although seeing as it's only 1 fighter left on the Mega's carrier here, I think the opponent currently has control of the aircraft as the Mega starts setting up for a move on the Charlie cap, currently contested by 1 opposing kid. There's Xian Yang currently being somewhat pushed away a little bit, although not much of a development currently ongoing on this map. Teams seem to be starting out slightly slower, but we need to keep in mind that currently Mega does have a little bit of a points advantage. Thanks to the early and aggressive move to capture Bravo, the kid on Charlie will need a little bit more time, currently this being what seems to be a standard battle mode, 1 minute capture timer, as the I believe one of the opponent's kids is trying to torpedo the Lol Yang, but that's never going to happen. We can see very, very nicely tucked on the island, even safely parked now with the stern point facing into it so that at any given point this ship can just run away if needed. Otherwise, Xian Yang, again, attempting to make a capture on Alpha. For those of you guys that know about this map, there is a very little cheeky position on the Alpha cap that you can park yourselves in. Inside of here, the fleet from the northern side of the map would have to go wide over here to actually be able to engage anything inside of that little cove. A very dangerous position. However, the southern side does get this cove as well, but slightly easier to engage. You just need to be over here and you can already hit this guy's tail. But this being a kid, it's going to be incredibly difficult for the opponents, the Zoo's aircraft carrier, to be able to actually find a spotting on that without bleeding a large amount of planes. And keep in mind, Shokaku only having 72 total aircraft does still need to keep in mind that for the later stage of the game, you do need to keep some planes alive to actually be able to contest later on. But we can see a contestant is definitely coming in, a noticeable push going in on the Bravo side with the Charles Martel already being kited away. The capture is currently contested, the Zoo Kid probably already redeploying away, not wanting to risk getting caught by a radar. Edinlol, who currently seems to be potentially getting himself stuck in a bit of a bad position, but the enemy battleships in the distance well out of range. They cannot engage at this range. Army main battery firing range, 20 kilometers main battery firing range, not good enough to actually punish this Edinburgh for being parked over there. And currently, of course, I don't believe he is going to be spotted. Speaking of spotted, Kid coming in, potentially trying to make a contest over here, as Rita Lol Yang has already pushed away out of the cap, having held a good points advantage from there, and now gaining probably Charlie Cap as a point advantage as well, with Uptago with the North Carolina pushing through, and a second Utalol coming behind to, second North Carolina that is, coming back to provide some support. Otherwise, the kiting group over here, Kutuzov and Amagi already starting to move away, with the Kid having smoked up, trying to prevent the team from getting the cap. However, there is a potential for that being a radar Xianyang, because we can see otherwise this Zoom team does not have any other ship equipped with radar. No Chapaevs, no Edinlols, no New Orleanses. So there is a chance this guy could find himself being radared and engaged by two Amagis from behind if they get some good RNG luck against this guy's tail when he is angled like this. Very soon, I believe there will be a radar coming in. Very soon, if this guy gets a shot straight raking down the back end, that could be an incredibly large amount of health lost on a very short period of time. Even with the good up, and there we go, the radar comes in, Time Tracer. Lots of shells coming in, the Amagi in the back not able to find an effective shot. Only 28 seconds, I believe, or 20 seconds, because I do not believe it can actually mount the radar upgrade. And here we go, the Kudasov trying to get some shots in there. The cap's been reset, so that this Alpha cap is likely going to fall to the hands of Zoo. And that's it, I don't think there are any more salvos coming in. So, interestingly enough, Time Tracer does manage to get away from that for a minimal cost. I believe he only took 2 hits, and we can see he's only down to 15,946 health there. Otherwise, I think that Charles Martel took a little bit of a salvo on the distance, and now the Otago and the North Carolina are making progress. They have control of the Charlie Cap and the Edinburgh, now broadside on, but the Amagis on the one line are going to be far too far to be able to engage. However, this Edinlol is doing what seems to be a... normally you'd call them 3-point turns, however, this seems to be a 300-point turn as he's kind of going back and forth between the islands. If the opponent, the Kid, has sent the torpedo salvo from here into here, this Edinburgh is going to be in some significant trouble with no means whatsoever to evade, with about 1 bout worth of space here to do a 300-point turn to get himself out of this. I did not catch this. How long has he been doing this? Interesting move, probably to avoid getting himself caught on the 9-10 line. Otherwise, we can see a torpedo bomber squadron here by the Shokaku, who has now moved himself to a safer area of the map. North Carolina trying to blind shoot into there as... ooh, Time Tracer Kid, single torpedo salvo, 1 torpedo hit, knocks out the Zoo's Ritsumi in the Kudasov going down. I did not catch this, ladies and gentlemen. This seems to be a very, very nasty loss for their team. That is one of their smoke ships gone down, and a major firepower massively putting the advantage currently in the favor of Mega, although this is still 2 Amagis trying to push down. But do not forget that a Amagi and a Kutuzov kiting away are a very, very significant threat to Amagis. Kutuzov with IFHE easily able to take a lot of these health bars off. IFHE giving it 32 millimeters of penetration, easily capable of dealing damage to the 32 millimeters of armor that is absolutely everywhere on the Amagi's deck. In other news, Tokitagaza has currently parked herself nicely there in Charlie to defend, with the North Carolina currently exposed to taking fire, but it shouldn't be a major problem. They have control over this, with the Edinburgh and the other North Carolina now pushing through. If they can deal with the southern force over here, get them away, force them to head in the western direction, take control of the map, and then box in the opponents, use smoke screens, take advantage of this, use the IFHE and the firepower available to take down these Amagis, prevent them from capturing and pushing forward, as the Xianyang is using radar, meaning there is no smoke screen available there, and the only remaining smoke screens on the enemy team are the 2 Kids, currently one of them engaged in the middle, trying to stall this point's income, and the other one now approaching a island on their side of the map, supporting the southern enemy kiting force currently trying to get away. However, these guys have no means to get back into the Charlie Cap, so that's a very unfortunate position for them. They need to be able to obliterate Mega's forces in Bravo over here, otherwise they're going to find themselves struggling to get back into this game, potentially even already too late. They will need to completely annihilate this force over here, a very difficult proposition overall, because they have the ability to permanently smoke here should the need arise, and an Armagi is a very, very difficult ship to kill when running away. Probably their best bet is to just either come back and try to kill off this, and then counter push Charlie while these guys are now currently rather far away. Although fault line being fault line, it is an incredibly small map. Loyang currently outside of the cap, however, but maybe perhaps his Hydro is down after Wargaming's changes to the mod policy. The icons that tell you which consumables are up, I believe, are currently banned. However, that is a double stack of fighters, although one of them is currently damaged. Perhaps are we going to see some strafing action here? Or are we just going to see a click fight? If he could have strafed, potentially some fighters could have been eliminated, as the Mega team is currently doing a mega push on the southeastern side of the map, trying to eliminate the opponent's force over there. Xianyang currently spotted Edinburgh and North Carolina in a position to provide immediate fire support to protect the Loyang. They're currently negating the points income by just locking down Bravo. However, they're not gaining anything either. We can see this massive points difference here is starting to tick as the Army takes a pretty heavy salvo, likely from top Killua from the Armagi over here, engaging her broadside. Loyang currently under torpedo attack, but it should be fine. Loyang being Loyang and all, but currently taking fire. No air support available. We can see the Mega carrier has been struggling throughout this match a little bit, although currently has a little bit of a fighter advantage. So Rita is in the Loyang, bleeding a little bit of health. Potentially, if we see some Armagi salvos coming in, though, this could definitely be very painful. Otherwise, the Charlie push is currently going quite well. The North Carolina and the Otago making progress up here, although the Otago currently combat ineffective. Otago is trying to push down Charles Mattel is never really that good of a proposition. Charles Mattel just has all the advantages at long range. Two Otagos being able to push can definitely do some damage, but one Otago versus one Charles Baguette, even if the Baguette is low HP, which just means it has a faster rate of fire thanks to Adrenaline Rush. This Otago is not going to be able to be effective against that. And of course, now the North Carolina salvo, perhaps we can see a turnaround from the southern group of Zoo. They need to start taking risks. The points are taking rapidly out of their hands. It is rapidly going away from their favor, although currently we can see that they do have control of Bravo Cap. But if any of their ships go down, I do believe that Mega will be able to get the points income sufficiently so that even just holding Charlie will mean that they will take ahead despite the opponent team now currently having 2 of the captures. More torpedoes this time coming in. Loyang trying to torpedo the Kid and Xianyang together in this kind of an area. If the Edinburgh can also get in that direction, if Loyang is able to smoke down, that could be a major punish coming up for their destroyers, who seemingly currently did not take any of these torpedoes. Friendly carrier probably being able to provide spotting for that. Time Trace now taking a very risky look at that. He is now contesting the back end of their Alpha Cap, knowing that their Kutuzov has been eliminated already. These Armagis are in no position whatsoever to be able to do anything about Alpha, having already sailed out of the cap. You can see the boundaries of it right there. This Armagi just outside of it, unable to stop him from preventing the points income. Despite the plane being up, this kid is in a perfectly safe position, and with the anti-aircraft, that plane is probably going to find itself being shot down. There we go, plane taken down already. So now we can see that Mega has complete Mega map control over their opponents, being able to cycle these ships in here if needed. The Kutuzov in a position to react to any situation that shows up, still currently being very healthy. We can see that over there. Otherwise now, Otago on the eastern side of the map. Sorry, my bad with the camera work there. Otago now able to find shots against the opponent's Alabama, trading high explosives and AP salvos against each other. That is, in fact, the Charles Mattel shooting over the island on 10,000 health. He could find himself going down if punished by the North Carolina. Alabama now being smoked up. However, keep in mind, after the smoke changes, he cannot fire outside of that smoke without being detected for at least 22 and a bit seconds. However, 22 seconds with a 30-second reload, or at this point with Adrenaline Rush likely around about 28-second reload, does still permit him about 5 seconds of respite, and of course the ability to disengage and move around inside of the smoke screen for free without being detected. And now we can even see Mega, there we go, taking the Bravo Cap, Loyang and Xianyang, engaging Loyang, likely radared by Xianyang at the point. But because of the Edinburgh, this Xianyang is spotted engaging and trying to shoot at the Loyang. Potentially we can see some AP salvos from battleships coming in, although I can't believe that the Mega's battleships are just a little bit too far away to be able to engage them. Ooh, still taking fire. I don't know if Loyang's smoke is expiring soon or not. I'm pretty sure I saw some smoke puffs vanishing, but I'm not sure at this point. No smoke timers, I can't really tell. Alabama is taking a bit of a hammering, but this North Carolina is also bleeding quite significant large amounts of health. Although 2 North Carolinas versus Alabama, a very low HP Charles Mattel and a kid likely going to find themselves being pressured out and ending this game for the favor of Mega. Amagi now has, having been spotted heading towards the middle of the map, Time Tracer still with the smoke screen, still contesting Alpha, but the Amagi now trying to reverse towards him. Well, he's reversed himself into the cap, again just trying to stall the points income. However, I think Bravo Cap is currently being taken by Megas, again instilling a very, very heavy punishing points lead. Zoo right now need to get kills, they need to kill battleships, and they need to be able to do it rather fast so they can push back in and try to reacquire caps, and there we go. The enemy team, they do have A, because Time Chaser was forced out of the cap. The kid coming up behind him, perhaps they can even find a kill on their kid, if their kids seemingly are currently high health, and he is taking damage, being spotted outside of the smoke screen. Needs a defensive anti-aircraft, those fighters take them down, currently being spotted. If this guy goes down, this could be the beginning of the comeback. Mega's North Carolina fleet on the southeastern side of the map also taking damage, however they do still have an Ottogo pressuring their flank, a very dangerous target overall, difficult to kill, but I think Time Tracer might find himself going down right now, 1,200 health still being spotted by the planes, there we go. Zephia's kid takes down and shuts down Time Tracer, thereby taking a little bit of the pressure off on the Alpha side. However, Bravo Cap still contested, and there is still this 250-ish points differential in favor of Mega, so Zoo really needs to start picking up the pace, although I think this Alabama is probably going to find a trade with the North Carolina over here. Both of them on incredibly low HP, 4-digit numbers over there. But they need to make incredibly aggressive moves, try to pick up this Loyang, no anti-aircraft support right now, bring the fighters over and contest them. However, with both teams having a large amount of anti-aircraft, this could be very difficult, and the Kutuzov here making it difficult for the opponent carrier to be able to provide permanent spotting. Charles Mattel hanging in on 8,000 health, taking more damage, but there you go, Alabama traded for North Carolina, goes in favor of Mega, as they have now currently, we can see on the list, equal amount of ships lost. However, battleship for battleship, and points advantage means that losing ships for Mega isn't too bad, because the opponent's team also has a lot of ships on reasonably poor repair right now. We can see this Amagi versus this Amagi would have the advantage simply due to the health. However, the North Carolina here, also on half health, so the battleship health kind of honestly would go to favor of, slightly favor of Zoo, simply because of the fact that Amagis are a lot more difficult to kill overall, especially overall, since we can see the Autolol is not the world's best at trying to deal with Amagis, because you have to get well within the Amagis' effective firing range to actually be able to achieve anything. Although Kutuzov still being available can do a lot of damage, and speaking of a lot of damage, someone finds the broadside of this Amagi, taking him down to 15,000 health, as the Xianyang now also spotted, currently in an engagement with the Edinburgh, and the Loyang together might find the Xianyang going down with the end of this game currently drawing near. We can even see the kid on the western side desperately trying to make a move against the Mega's Amagi, but I don't think he's going to find himself very favorable engagements over there, as Xianyang has managed to go invisible already, but I think this fighter is going over there trying to force a spotting. Loyang smoking up. Ooh, maybe see a strafing here. Looks like the fighters are just trying to avoid each other. 300 ping for casting, not really the world's best, but the Amagi takes a torpedo over there. Very, very desperate situation for Zoo, but the points, they are ticking back up. A couple of kills going in favor of Zoo over here could find them making a comeback, but broadside North Carolina, top me carry you, knocking down the Amagi. Xianyang now spotted, no anti-aircraft support available, Diamond on top of him, fighters coming in, Edinburgh takes up the kill, 977 to 612 points. Perhaps this Kutuzov could find herself going down as well, though currently this opponent Amagi not in a position to engage, and the kid currently firing at him, but Kutuzov, remember, that is 27mm of deck armor. If the kid does not have IFA, even with IFHE, the kid should not be able to penetrate the deck armor of the Kutuzov, as the Amagi does actually find a salvo in, moving ahead, but very few points left. Let's see, that is 3 points every 5 seconds, so the game probably about to find itself ending now if no kills go in favor of Zoo. Very shortly, we can see one more tick coming in here, 4 seconds left of the game, 3 seconds left of the game. Will the Kutuzov be going down? I doubt it. Kid just does not have the firepower, so a victory in favor of Mega here, 1-0. Let me just quickly change these scores 1-0 in favor of Mega. Have a look at the team scores. Let's see the planes. We can see the aircraft carrier Shokaku 16, 8 on Zoo's side over there. Kid 16 planes shot down, and Naval even picks up 10, North Carolina 9, and the Kutuzov 3. On the opponent team, Kid and Kid picking up a total of 33 aircraft, killed each Shokaku 8 as we see, so but the opponent Shokaku did seem to have a major fighter advantage earlier on in the game. Kutuzov and Xianyang, even the Xianyang managing to pick up 6, probably running manual anti-aircraft, a definitely recommendable skill to have on your destroyers for your tier 8 competitive matches involving aircraft carriers, because these things anti-aircraft around about 50 DPS, multiply that by 2 for your manual AA, and then the 1.3 focus bonus, you can still get some pretty good DPS to chip away at planes over the course of a longer game. And with 72 planes total on a Shokaku, the kills in the end do stack up and they do matter, although in this case neither aircraft carrier approaching a position where they're going to find themselves deplaned. Now, I'm glad I brought a water bottle, because I really need that. Because let's face it, talking constantly like this, trying to do esports commentary for World of Warships, or for any game overall, can be very stressing for your voice. But yes, I guess with the end of this, and of course I will have to wait 10 minutes, but I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of commentary and casting. If you'd like to have me continue doing something like this, go ahead and tell me if you think that it is just incredibly annoying and really just being a distraction. Tell me in the chat. I will see it, hopefully in time for the next battle, and I will adjust as you guys would like to see it. But yes, a very well played game there for Mega side. They managed to take good map control away from Zoo, who just seemed to get rather unfortunate and unlucky. And the very aggressive play by the Loyang into Bravo side managed to make some very, very good results with a very big points lead. Although Zoo came close to picking it back, having the Bravo cap in the middle of the map for a while, but the contestant constantly going in, and even the locking down of the Alpha cap by a very cheeky kid from Mega side in the end, just too much for Zoo. They unfortunately could not find a comeback. The potential definitely was there. A couple of good shots against battleships, picking up some kills earlier, getting back into this game. They definitely, I believe, could have done a very interesting game overall. Interesting to see on Fault Line. However, I have no personal experience on this map. Never played on Asia server. Never actually played this map competitively myself with the EU server's metas and the competitive that's available to us on the EU server. But definitely an interesting map to see played out. With 3 battleships, however, that's a lot of firepower available. Though we didn't even see any... I don't believe we saw any destroyer blappage, so... I guess that's what we're here for, right? Loot the destroyer... never mind, you should just ignore me, right? But yes, if I do remember correctly, this is going to be a... it's going to be a best of 5 on this map only. Let me just double check the information I have been provided. I'm actually not sure. Doesn't seem like I'm able to acquire the information that I am seeking currently. Unfortunate. And yes. But judging by the fact that it's Fault Line, I do believe I got the information that it will be Fault Line repeated over and over. So, hey. Anyways, teams lining themselves up again. Let's see if we can find any ship changes without the mod. And I'm not that familiar with all of the ships overall. Don't really memorize the exact way that all of them seem to look, but Mega still seems to have their 2 North Carolinas and their Armagi. They still have their Edinlol. It's a Kutuzov over there with an Otolol. Let's see, there's the Destroyers, probably still fighting kids, and Lol Yang. Let's have a quick look on Zoo's side. Kutuzov, Suicide, Otolol. Wait, did they have an Otolol last game? Totally professional casters, Rangers 1 to 3 here. Let's go, boys. I think that's an Alabama, in it? With the little dot back there. Not sure if setups are allowed to be changed. Of course, me not being familiar with the rule set here does prove to be a little bit disadvantageous here. Probably should have actually done some research. Pro streamers, strangers, right there, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, seeing as we will be playing the exact same map again, although this time from opposing spawns, let's see if we can see some different strategies being come up. Is that even accurate English? Come up with some different strategies to show us from both of these teams how will these teams react to each other. They probably played each other multiple times, scrimmed against each other, trained against each other. They probably know each other inside out like the back of your hand, and it'll be interesting to see how Zoo is going to come back from a current 1-0 down on their side. There we go, we can see 12 versus 12. It seems the teams have been set up. There we go, teams readying up. And there we go, I think both teams are currently ready. Sorry for being rather quiet. Voice is slightly strained at the moment already. Probably should not have gone that ham on the esports. There we go, match ready to start. Good luck, have fun. Both teams. May the better team win the second round of the Asia 7 Naval Force 9, the finals. And here we go, we can see still the same team. Looks like the... Ooh, they've ditched one of their... they've ditched their Xianyang for a Otago over there with an Alabama ST there even. Not like it matters, it is the same ship as the Alabama, normally that you can acquire in the tech tree. And this time we're now watching Mega from the south. How will they play out this map against Zoo, who has altered their lineup a little bit. However, now they have no radar whatsoever, but against the kid, Edinburgh still has good AA, double North Carolina and a Kutuzov. Let's see how Kage Athena is going to have to face off against Danger 05 and all the anti-aircraft available for their team. Oh, we're even shooting each other. For those that don't know, this area here is 10 millimeters of armor. If I shoot there, I'll Citadel. But that's not really nice to do, right? Note to self. Whoa, those explosions were loud. Tried to find the carrier. Oops, there we go, found it. And there we go. Opening up this match, having a look at the initial team deployments, as we can see, Danger 05 having... Ooh. It might be a mistake, but Danger 05 here reversing the ship, although of course probably potentially aware and afraid of being sniped by opponent ships from across the map. Although in this case, you can see double Alabama means that they don't have the best firing range and accuracy over long ranges, but losing a lot of time on getting the fighters airborne, because reversing at an angle like this is always bad for your aircraft. Because it means you take a lot longer to arrive to the middle of the map. When we see fighter launch from the opponent's carrier this time. Let's see, has the carrier dropped the torpedoes? I'm not sure, I didn't pay attention to that. Why have I an Amagi selected there now? Let me, there we go. Probably just a ping doing bad things to it. There you go, 2 planes already shot down by the Kutuzov, who we know are now heading towards the western side of the map. Allied Loyang, again, aggressively going towards the middle. Fighter engagement already having out, losing one there immediately. This fighter is not on time. That fighter over there being completely annihilated. Kid now spotted. Anti-aircraft on. This is a massive fighter advantage for Zhu, having the initial advantage over here. Nobody to support the Loyang. This Loyang is going to be spotted, and the Edinburgh is not able to safely get there due to the fact that he does not have smoke. He is running radar. This Loyang could potentially be in trouble if the enemy carrier does decide to push the matter. We can see Charles Martel, Alabama, and the SD plus the Article aggressively heading towards the Charlie side of the map. While now Magana Kutuzov being sent in that direction to prop that up with the double North Carolina heading west, probably again going to find a push. This time rotated 180 degrees around the map. Although, I mean, if you look at it from their side, both teams still, Mega still pushing to the left side of their spawn. And now definitely is indicated by the Shokaku being bow on behind this island facing this area. Currently, this kid potentially in anti-aircraft range of these fighters. Same for the Altigo, probably spotted at this point. And the wrecks of these small little Orlans over there in the corner. But we see a potential for a bit of a yin-yang movement. A ring around the rosy even, almost like two brothers, but no radar here to contest the Loyang this time. Torpedoes now spotted coming from the side, from the kid heading towards Alpha. The Loyang should have no major difficulty dodging that. Looks like there is even a gap, but he's not chancing the gap, going to sail out of this if there are planes available at this moment. The Admiral probably not able to spot them just far out away. Oh, are they actually? They actually seem to be capturing Bravo now. Ooh, and the torpedoes expire, so it looks like Elite are now currently exposed. If the enemy team catches onto that, perhaps they can get some sniping shell fire in there. This kid now bow on into this area. Usually I would not recommend being bow on, personally I suggest, and prefer being ass on this kind of an area, but we can see the Mega's offensive start means that they are trying to go for as many capture points as possible. And we know that the opponent team Kutuzov and Anamaki spotting already initiated. That does mean that they have the inability to really contest and push him out of there. The enemy's kid now spotted. Probably going to see the fighter engagement here going in favor. Oh, the torpedo finds its target. 4,000 health, 3,977 to be specific. More shells coming in. Octago taking down the kid. Massive loss for Zoo. Immediate punishment for their team. Now the Alpha Cap going in the hands of Mega. Very bad for Zoo. They will have to find their Charlie side push. Being able to push through and find a kill on top of this due to the fact that both Bravo is locked and Alpha now likely to find itself in the hands of the Mega's team. Long before Zoo managed to push through. And this means that again, Mega is going to be initiating a points bleed against that of Zoo, being very disadvantageous for Zoo, meaning that they might need to make themselves a desperate heavy push at the end. Very, very, very unfortunate for Zoo, again finding themselves on the back foot. The disadvantage side, that's what I'm trying to say. Oh, Edinburgh though, getting blasted, half the health gone away, but Edinburgh, being Edinburgh, just press that T button, and half your health is very quickly going to be back. However, this is still permanently removed health. That is not able to regenerate, and we can see 25,000 health currently, and this is just going to keep going down the more it takes damage. Thing about the Edinburgh is the fact that you need to keep in mind that 50% of its health can be regenerated through heal, even if it's Citadel or Torpedo damage. But it doesn't have much health to begin with. Well, 36,000 not too bad, but you'll find yourself getting a lot of that health loss due to the very poor overall armor available. Otherwise, we can currently see that Zoo now finally getting themselves into Charlie Cap. However, the Megas Loyang pushed away from Bravo. If the Zoo team can actually acquire Bravo Cap, that could mean that they will be able to initiate points bleed against the Mega, who currently have a bit of a point advantage, having managed to pick up the opponent's kid in Alpha to a very unfortunate torpedo, plus Otago salvo being able to kill it. Ooh, speaking of Otago, currently using the smoke screen Broadside probably going to find it a use to turn away. Currently turning away, optical rudder shift being very good, and the turn circle, meaning that she should have no problems being able to get away from this at all. However, an Amagi and a Kutuzov can very quickly stall up a Optical and a North Carolina and prevent them from being able to make any progress on this side of the map should they not want them to make any progress. No real problems for Zoo on this side of the map already. But we can see their Alabama over here already having turned back and cutting in through this area with the Otago also there as well, which currently has placed the Kutuzov and Amagi Kutuzov on halfway health already. This could mean that these guys could find themselves slightly out of position, but also if the Otago is not in a position to defend as the Alabama SC loses a third of her health pool to what seems to be a rather well-placed salvo immediately. But these guys can push themselves back in over here, engage them from behind, or even kill the Otago potentially, or the Baguette, and even lock down Charlie with a very cheeky lockdown, although I doubt it's going to find itself happening. But speaking of happening, Asia server Loyang plays. Are we going to see a hydroacoustic set on the key, and are we going to see a punish? Enelol seems to be in a position, North Carolina potentially behind the island, yep, definitely behind the island, not able to engage that, and the Loyang now taking fire, Kid and Loyang trading with each other, but something is spotting the Loyang torpedo from the aircraft carrier coming in, that looks like a belt hit, very nasty, down to 5,500 health, but the Kid still taking damage. This looks like it could potentially be a trade. AP salvo coming in from the Alabama, not finding its mark, Loyang getting away currently, what seems to be on 5,000 health, but the Kid, 10,000. Ooh, more damage coming in. However, there needs to be immediate air support brought over here from the mega aircraft carrier. Protect this Loyang. That is the difference between you guys winning and losing. Potentially, if this Loyang goes down, the trade will again go equal into favor. But if he goes down without the Kid dying, then it means that Bravo Cap will need to be dealt with as well. Although Kid is coming in to provide fire support, North Carolina pushing around the corner now, trying to get himself into position to be able to engage. More blind shells going in. Do they find their target? Do they not? Let's see when the Kid shows up. And what kind of health if the icon over here on the right side of our screen changes with the procedures of the game. Otherwise, Kutuzov, whoops, camera work, I hate you. Kutuzov now moving towards the back end of Charlie, which seems to be slightly abandoned by Zoo. Alabama, Charles Martel, and the ST having now moved a little bit more towards the center of the map, trying to consolidate their forces. However, the Kid now pushed out of the cap. It looks like Mega is capturing it. Is it still going? It still seems to be ticking. If Zoo loses the Bravo cap, they lose a very, very important ability to pressure, or at least try to stall the points gain. Currently, that Mega is enacting upon them. Kutuzov and Amagi, now we can see Amagi still reversing towards their opponent, but the Kutuzov trying to move herself closer. North Carolina taking down a half HP. Disadvantage situation for North Carolina to be in, facing a kiting Amagi and a Kutuzov. Not very advantaged, not very good, and not a very comfortable situation to be in at all. And we can see heading away as well. Otherwise now, Mega also having their Kid located to the middle of the map. Massive anti-aircraft lead. We can see this fighter down to one plane left. Probably better to just cycle that. Charles Patel this time, in this case, still on full HP. Although in the case of French cruisers, full HP and no HP really isn't the biggest difference in the world. Just trying to evade shells from long range. Those things are very powerful kiters, capable of finding themselves dishing out large amounts of damage to any unsuspecting target or target that is trying to push into it, although not the world's best ship in an offensive position at all. We can see now that the Zoo, noticing that a North Carolina pushing into middle with the Optigo, leaving just this North Carolina there, they're trying to push down this North Carolina, fighters here trying to keep him spotted. If they can kill this North Carolina, they could potentially get back into the Alpha Cap and be able to encircle the Mega's flank. How is Mega going to react to this kind of a movement? And potentially even the Shokaku could be exposed if not able to get out of there on time. But if we look at the map, we can see that it is distinctly currently in the favor of Mega. They have a little bit more closely tied forces. We can see that they are now pushing back into Charlie. This Optigo rather being outside of the battle. This Alabama also outside of the battle, currently trying to deal with the southeastern side. Kutuzov and Amagi still on full HP over there. And now Kutuzov, having entered the Alpha Cap, North Carolina on the southwest, top me carry you will need to try to be able to find resets in this Amagi found in a crossfire. Now Sidova and the other North Carolina here, top me carry, having a potential broadside against this Amagi. Someone over there is going to be able to contest this guy's armor, although Sidova taking a massive bleed in damage from the bow on areas as well. Amagi now making a risky turn inside of the cap, potentially going to lose some health to this North Carolina over there. However, Amagi armor being Amagi armor, there we go. Lands does actually quite a surprising amount of damage, but here more North Carolina shells coming in, starting to bleed a lot of damage on this guy. The Kutuzov needs to try to prevent top me carry you from being able to find more damage as the Charles Martel Alabama group over here, and Yatko needs to pressure down Sarova, who is currently looks like being smoked. However, keep in mind battleships cannot fire from the smoke at this range without getting themselves detected. And here, more shells going in. Top me carry you is just sniping over this island. Again, trading health with the Kutuzov as well. No torpedo seems to find their mark. But this Amagi may have just found herself overextending. Time will tell. Same for this North Carolina. So this could be the comeback from Zoo right now, trying to get back into the map, take control of areas, find the kills, and knock out low HP targets. Kutuzov on the distance over there, smoking up again. Dealing with the Alabama push through Charlie with the Atago, taking up the Edinburgh's position from last battle. Loyang now trying to torpedo at the Amagi as well, although we need to keep in mind Loyang torpedoes do about 10,000 damage. They are the exact same as that of the Mahan. And the Amagi does have a 45% torpedo bulge, could easily find itself negating a lot of the damage here if taking on the belt. But the Amagi currently being pressured on health. Kutuzov caught potentially broadside to the North Carolina, finds the wipe. Kutuzov deleted from the match. Top me carry you now having the ability to control the western side of the map. Amagi taking 2 torpedoes down to 1,500 health, counter healing. North Carolina Salva goes out, takes the kill. Alpha side now secure in Mega's hand. Zoo tried to make a desperate last minute push, got punished for it, not able to come back into this game. And I think this match seems to be securely in Mega's favor. North Carolina in the middle also very, very nicely anchored down. And now we can see Zoo having no ability to contest the Alpha side of the map. They can just send one ship here, with the Otago having also turned back to provide support for the North Carolina coming in just too late to the party. No damage for the Otago to find. And now we can see, having a look at the opponent team's health bar, with only one destroyer currently spotted here on 10,000 health, somewhat just being a bit of an anti-aircraft bubble. One fighter trying to deal with this one torpedo bomber, probably not going to find too much of an effect, not really an important part of the map either. Edinburgh down to 9,800, Kutuzov down to 15,000, Amagi is still very healthy, however, now even pushing in. We can see on the map, trying to cut off the opponent's team from making any form of last desperate push through the area. And now also running away from Zoo, Alabama 10J is IK, I think it's IK over there. Pretty much negating him and putting him outside of the fight currently. He needs to find a way to get back into this fight and get some kills against these low HP cruisers. Low HP, definitely, there we go. 3,000, 2,100, 9,000. Ooh, Edinburgh on fire, currently a broadside, engaging the Otago, being spotted by the planes, of course. Otago Salvo coming in. Edinburgh might find himself going down right now, giving a little bit of a respite to Zoo and a little bit of additional points for them to play with. However, the radar probably not going to find too much of a use at this point, because Loyang and North Carolina working together can potentially deal with the Kid. The Kid, if is able to make a desperate move, could potentially even trade out Loyang, having the health advantage against this. And there you go, you can see now Loyang likely using Hydroacoustic Search to spot the Kid. Unless Kid has anti-aircraft on. It does in fact seem Kid has anti-aircraft on. In case you didn't know, you cannot kill a plane that is taking off. Planes need 10 seconds to take off, and then they become vulnerable to being shot down. So potentially, probably maybe a mistake by the Zoo Kid, not knowing this. But now he's pushing out. North Carolina fired the broadside. Kid going in for the YOLO torpedoes. Bow on target, however, but 10,000 health. This North Carolina not going to have any main battery available. Only one Kid trying to gauge this guy at the moment. Is he going to smoke up? Smokes up in front, torpedoes in the water. North Carolina, do we have acquisition module? We do, in fact, have acquisition upgrade. Spots the Kid's torpedoes, and also spotting the Kid. North Carolina needs to go forwards. Shells in the water, blam, Kid goes down. Also, Loyang potentially had a Hydro up. So, the desperate last-minute push did not seem to work out. However, this North Carolina, very low HP, traded down by the Alabama ST. Kid for an Alabama, however, it is a favorable trade for Mega, because they have 2 destroyers and 2 of the captures points at this time. Zoo Otago finds itself going down to the Kutuzov, just bled down on HP. Charles Mattel and Double Alabama now against, let's see, North Carolina Amagi. Otago, Kutuzov, and Double Destroyer, plus the aircraft carrier. This is probably not going to find itself going in favor of the Zoo team, probably now. Oh, especially with a salvo like that, I don't think there's any chance of a comeback. Very unfortunate game for Zoo. Mega team, again, with their mega ability to control the map, just taking down Zoo, controlling them, and making sure that whatever Zoo is trying to do, they can do it faster, and they can do it better. And with a very unfortunate loss of one of their kids in the beginning, I think it was Zephyrs taking the torpedo on Alpha and then being shot to death by the Otago. Just unfortunate. Zoo never really in this game at all to begin with. They just never really seem to have had a chance at losing very unfortunate ships and health at the beginning. And we can see that the Amagi here shoots the broadside baguette. Will we actually find a good impact? Nope, no shells find their mark. Alabama still hanging on for dear life. Heal coming online. But let's see if this Top Me Carry You AP Salvo from the North Carolina has anything to say about it. No, it does not seem like that. Amagi Armor saving the Amagi Armor? Alabama's Armor saving the Alabama. That makes sense. That makes sense, right? For now, at least. However, very low on HP, trying to shoot back at the Loyang. I'm not sure if is currently spotted or not, but at that range, unlikely to find a kill. We can see MLG shot just over too high, not able to find the kill there. And there you go, goes down in return. 979 points there. As the other Alabama dodges some of the Kutuzov torpedoes, 80-kilometer torps, maybe a kill on the Kutuzov could come in at the end of the game here. Alabama would have to shoot very soon, otherwise the game points are going to tick down. I think it's too late now. The shells would not be able to reach on target. And there we go, second victory in favor of Mega. So that's 2-0. Megas versus Zoo. Having a look at the plane shot down, you see very distributed across the Mega team here. 9 on the Edenlol, 6 on the Kid, 3 on the Optico. Shokako picking up 7. You rarely see aircraft carriers get more than the 10 plane kills. It's just a very rare thing for it to happen. North Cal 6, Kutuzov 7, the other North Carolina 6. So we can see that Kage Athena not really getting the plane, but also not fully utilizing the aircraft resources either. 12, 11 there, so we actually see some double-digit plane shutdown on the Zoo team. We can see that the Mega Carrier, we can see spotting the Kid for quite a while as well. Alabama, but overall, again, very few total planes shot down. So, good game to Mega. Second win, and I think this is a best of 5 on fault line. So if Mega picks up the next match, Zoo really needs to get themselves in to have a chance. They still have 3 games left. They would need to win all 3 of them to pick up the win here. Let's see with the next series how Zoo is going to try to counter the Mega map control and situation control and the aggression that Mega is pushing at the beginning of the match. I seriously need some water. Right, I'm back. My voice definitely isn't though. Alright, let's try to actually keep some of my voice for the rest of this day, shall we? Yes, let's have a look at the lineups quickly. Mega still going with their destroyer setups. Would actually, let me ask. You can see the delay in the from me on EU server trying to cast on Asia server. Right, I'm not playing it right now. Let's see. That looks like a US battleship, Japanese kiting battleship. And if I'm going to be now casting from Zoo side, I will need to flip the scores. So 0 and 2. Let's see, we have still the Shokakus. I wonder how an Enterprise would work here with the increased amount of fighter replacements that you could throw away later on in the game to potentially get some spotting, though nobody is using the German battleship, so you don't have anyone to AP bomb delete, which is a little bit unfortunate, but perhaps having additional fighter replacements, although you are disadvantaged in the total fighters airborne, and of course their quality individually, with the Kid being able to enact some pretty serious damage to them with the anti-aircraft, and of course you don't know where they are until they suddenly start killing your planes. But it seems that Mega is running the same lineup. You can see Otto, the Edinburgh, and the Kudas over there with probably a Loyang and a Kid. See, from Zoo side, they're running a Kutuzov, Double Destroyer, Otto, and this. Let's see, will they have their Charles Mattel this time? Or will they make some swaps around there? Still 2 US battleships over there. I think these are both Alabamas. And, of course, the Amagi, very typical pick for Tier 8 competitive. Having very good firepower, 10 41cm guns, accurate out to pretty much all ranges. Very capable of shooting into smoke screens invisibly. Although, of course, US battleships are better by closer range, and especially versus destroyers, due to the shell arcs and their tendency to group shells closer to each other, though the Armagi is more likely to find itself reliably finding targets and hitting targets across longer ranges. But the downside of the Armagi, of course, you need to keep in mind 32mm of all-round armor, 20.3cm 8-inch guns will naturally HE penetrate it, which means that it'll beat a lot of its 66,300 health to the enemy team rather quickly. At least I think it's 66,300, unless I remembered the health bar of the North Carolina by accident. Otherwise, let's see, Zoo, we have 1, 2, all casters are here, so we're just missing 1 ship, 2 destroyers already. I'm guessing it's I'm guessing it's going to be the Charles Mattel that we're missing here right now. If they are still going to decide to use that, or perhaps they're going to swap to a radar, they need to make some serious moves here. This is their final dance, Zoo versus Mega. Mega on 2 wins already. This is, being a best of 5, Zoo needs to get here, they need to get back in, and they need to get in there hard and fast. They need to start winning against Mega, otherwise they're going to be knocked out of this final with... Ooh, it seems an Otago pick coming in. Double Otago, capable of being rather aggressive with their health and their sustainability by having the heal and the 40,000 health, 40,300 if you're using Survivability Expert. Which one of the Megas, Otagos, is actually finding himself using? Not a bad choice on skills overall, giving it additional ability to kite and additional ability to take damage. Especially considering Tier 8, guns aren't that big, and, well, guns aren't that big. The firepower isn't that great, and the damage output and accuracy and the amount of guns going out isn't that big either. Now, going into our 3rd match, like I said, final dance for the Zoo team. They need to win against Mega, and they need to get themselves back in right now. So let's see, this time I think the sides have swapped again, of course, me having also swapped their team. We will be watching again from the southern side this time. We can see double Kid from Zoo, the opponent team still having 1 Kid, 1 Loyang, the Hydro probably proving very useful. And we can see on their lineup, Edinburgh, Loyang, very, very information heavy here with no radars whatsoever from the Zoo side. But this time, they have double Autogo and double US battleships, although personally I would still recommend North Carolina simply because of the fact that the North Carolina has more reliable guns and a little bit more health at the cost of torpedo bulge, but with, it seems, a Loyang pick, which has 10,000 damage per torpedo hit, and the Kid only able to launch one torpedo salvo, with only having one single launcher, and more shooting. Oh, hi, you cut. There we go. Someone's late, but let's see. And I forgot to do this again. There we go. First time's charm, right? It's third time's charm, that's just bollocks. We can see this time, Zoo, double Alabama, seem to be heading towards Charlie. Zoo favoring that side heavily. Kutuzov and the Armor Geek going to the western side of the map, probably going to find themselves being the kiting team again. Let us see this time if the Mega team is going to attempt to push a Loyang into the Bravo Island again. We see a fighter going in from the Zoo carrier, who again is not doing a headwind launch, not willing to chance the potential for being shot at. Oh, now moving forwards, so we can see that if the Mega's aircraft carrier has decided to start by reversing Kage Athena, he will have a bit of an advantage in getting the remainder of the aircraft airborne and towards the middle of the map. And again, we can see an empty torpedo bomber scout, not very bad of a choice, because it does get the initial ability to launch faster if you're using torpedo servicing or torpedo armaments expertise, 10% faster cycling time on torpedo bombers, and 10% faster reload on any shipborne torpedo. And what this means is that you can get the torpedo bombers in towards the middle of the map faster, and Japanese torpedo bombers are fast. I think these things do 143 knots loaded. And there we go. We can see the Loyang again probably trying to push itself into here. And the, of course, Mega aircraft carrier now coming in to try to defend that. Maybe we see an initial fighter engagement as the Kid now spotted engaging these fighters. Athena needs to get this plane out of the way as the Loyang is bleeding a little bit of damage already. Do we find some more damage in there? More hits? No, looks like unfortunately these missed. Loyang probably still on the reasonable health pool that she had. Kid having no real ability to push into this simply due to the fact that Kid does not have a hydroacoustic surge and cannot really engage that. Which is really unfortunate because again, Mega probably going to be able to get an initial points advantage here because they're going to get the Bravo cap, and this is the third match. This is the final dance. Zoo will need to find a serious strategy to counter this, otherwise they are likely just going to find themselves bleeding out on the victory points. Victory points, I've probably been looking at Company of Heroes too much. It is in the victory ticker count point. You get my point. I mean, I'm not gaining any points. Never mind. Oh, we see a Kid launching torpedoes again. Perhaps PTSD from last time, dying to the torpedoes here. Can we this time see the Mega ship here taking a torpedo? This could be very, very big if Zoo is able to pick up an early kill here. And we see again Kid going bow on into this island. Very standard thing to move. Kutuzov going wide to stop the opponent team from going wide here as well. And if Kutuzov gets down to this area, smokes up, you will be able to shoot on anything camping behind here. And we see the Kid is definitely moving in this direction. However, Kid being Kid can easily enact a big bleed against the Zoo's aircraft carrier spotting ability. Ooh, this Kid over here already taking quite a nasty bit of damage here. Was he hydroed? He's moving out, so there is a chance that he is hydroed from, let's have a look. And there we go, torpedoes even coming in. 5.5 kilometer range. Yeah, definitely, I believe the Kid was hydroed by the Loyang. Maybe now the hydroacoustic surge having expired. Chancing his luck with heading back in, and these torpedoes to be launched, he would have to be slightly out here to be able to launch them in like this. These things rather slow, but if it finds a center hit, this Kid could easily go down. But we can see 280, 316. Mega is again enacting the points bleed against the Zoo's victory points ticker. As the Argy with the Kutuzov now trying to push down an enemy Kutuzov, it seems it's kiting force versus kiting force, and main force versus main force. It is no longer a yin-yang rotation. It is at this point what seems to be a upfront push versus upfront push. However, oh, we see Mega's Edinburgh over there now moving himself into position. It will be able to negate any smoke streams over here. However, there are none. So this Edinburgh, maybe a unfortunate choice here for Mega, not really having the firepower, torpedo power, or any real utility other than anti-aircraft at this point to be able to suppress the push over there. With Mega top me carry you, North Carolina, rather far away from the current heat of the battle. Zoo's team could potentially find themselves having the advantage to be able to push through here. Loyang down to 7k health. Something must have found a hit on that during the smokescreen. Did not catch that information. However, Zoo now knowing that they are taking back into a Bravo, but Alpha side locked again. Map design allowing a kid to sit here, and of course the opponent's kid just to sit inside there, tucked in nice and safely. However, if the Kutuzov now having smoked up, maybe not in a position now reversing to actually be able to blind fire on that corner to be able to maybe pressure him out and get themselves an additional cap, and they will need an additional cap there if they are to be able to counter the points bleed. They've already bled 54 points to the cap. However, this is going to change now with Zoo taking control of the Bravo cap. Perhaps they'll be able to get themselves back into this match. However, Mega now capturing Charlie. We can see the Edinburgh inside of the cap here, and nobody really in a position. The Armagi again just too far out of the match. If this Armagi is able to come in this kind of a direction and plant a shell right there, this guy's stuck on the island with nowhere to go. The Armagi with a plane could easily do a large amount of damage, knock out this guy as the kid is now trying to reset. Will the resets come in? Like 2 seconds left, 1 second left. No, the resets do not find themselves coming in. This, even with Kid AFT, just unable to find the target there. So that is, again, equal points now with a 30-point advantage for the Mega team. Of course, not as mega of an advantage as we have previously seen, having been over 300 points advantage throughout the course of a match. But definitely any points advantage is points advantage, and Zoo will have to try to counter this. Will we see them pushing through? Will we see them trying to encircle and envelop this Edinburgh, kill the Edinburgh, and then deal with this? They are currently firepower at equality, although slightly health disadvantage. 56k North Carolina versus 40k. 30k Otago, who is currently reversing while trying to kite away from the North Carolina. Kite moving in with the North Carolina. Now, American AP coming in against the Otago. Can the acceleration and the turn radius and the rudder shift be fast enough to avoid getting blatted? No, does not seem like it was necessary. North Carolina dispersion screws Mega's team over there, not able to find a damaging hit against the Otago. Now, again, returning pressure against the North Carolina. But this Otago now bow in. Not usually what you would consider a good play for the Otago, as the Mega Armagi on the western side of the map taking a bit of damage, but this of course not being too big of a deal. Armagis being Armagis, they have an incredible ability to stay alive when on low health. And of course, low health means adrenaline rush, gets the shells out faster. And again, as usual, nobody really achieving anything here because of the immense ability just to lock down the cap. And now with the Armagi and the Kutuzov heading more towards the middle of the map, they will not be able to contest the destroyer there, who just seems to have left. Is this a move that we see potentially coming from Mega? Are they trying to make a play right now against Zoo, who currently are the ones that do need to make a play? If you just lock and keep the status quo, Mega will be taking into points advantage. Of course, not a big point advantage, not big enough to compare, for example, 60 and 40, the 100 points that a battleship would sway the difference between each teams in. Perhaps Mega wants to secure the deal and get themselves in, get the firepower up, get ships in position, and try to pick up kills against the Zoo here, who currently have dealt some pretty good damage to this North Carolina. We can see KM8492's Otago being moved into position, trying to gauge this Otago, who is now pushing through. I think this may be a mistake from the team. Edinburgh as well coming in. If this Otago here is able to find a good AP salve against his Edinburgh, 16mm of power armor, however, not able to lol pen that with the 20.3s. You need the Henry the Baguette's 240mm guns to be able to lol pen the front of an Edinburgh and deal heavy damage no matter the angle. Though the Alabama definitely with 16-inch guns can find itself pulling off that contested. The trade between NATO and Kerry are it is going in NATO's favor, despite North Carolina generally being known for having better dispersion over longer ranges. Veritas now focusing on the Edinburgh. I think a little bit of focus fire here against Tokitsukazakai. Try to remove the one cruiser that everyone is in a position to engage would be better. And now we go. We see AP broadside coming in. Will we find the kill? Ooh. Does get the Citadels down to 4,700 health. One Citadel and a couple of hits will find the kill. Alabama takes up this Otago. this time game going in favor of Zoo. Now also still having points advantage, now 700 points advantage, having Bravo a little bit and Alpha Cap potentially being able to be capped, but now firepower advantage on the eastern side of the map in favor of Zoo if this Altago doesn't get blatted, and the North Carolina dispersion over there being absolutely horrible. Edinburgh also trying to engage, but the Edinburgh is never really going to achieve much, and Zoo now potentially in a position to push down, eliminate the North Carolina, and just take control of this game. Whoa! Alabama, poorly angled. North Carolina gets a very good salvo straight down the middle there, trying to be greedy, using the rear tower, gets punished for it rather heavily, cannot afford to lose too much health on this Alabama. They will need the health if they are to try to successfully push down the North Carolina overall. But if they can now actually encircle the Edinburgh, maybe they'll find a pick there as well. As Mega now on the western side trying to make a move. Kutuzov versus Kutuzov, Almagi versus Almagi. Almagis are probably both on rather low HP. We can see about half there and about half on this Almagi as well. Reversing towards the Kutuzov. Just trading health against each other. Nothing really being achieved on the Bravo cap. But now Mega making a move on the Bravo again. Kid, let's see, reversing into the gap, so it's just being locked. However, this is advantageous for Mega because, of course, while both of these caps are locked, they are not taking income for anybody, and Charlie is still taking points income for Mega, trying to negate the 50 points disadvantage that they were at. Now, there we go. We can see 49 points disadvantage. Every 5 seconds, 3 points coming back in their favor. But Artago's now pushing in, so that favor probably won't be found for too long. But this Alabama here, low HP, almost picked up, needs to go quiet. Can Danger05 spot this Alabama and actually allow their North Carolina and group, nope, just North Carolina's, to actually pick the kill up? I don't think so. That North Carolina, I believe, is behind the island. May actually be able to get a shot in if a plane flies within 11 kilometers range to detect this guy. Could be very unfortunate to lose that ship overall. As we can see, Veritas now entering the capture point to lock it down, while KM now approaching the border, trying to fight the Edinburgh and probably the North Carolina, shooting over the island. Now approaching the border, so he is going to find himself having to make some form of a move with that. This Altago here either using Hydro, or are we within 3 kilometers? No, we're not within 3 kilometers, but I think the Altago over there may be able to spot this guy. Can the Alabama ST actually engage from the side? No, and that's the Super Test camo, not the Hentai camo. Maybe just not being a nice enough Super Tester, haven't gotten it yet. But jokes aside, we see Almagi on the western side is still just kiting force and kiting force. Almagi's on pretty much the same HP. Kutuzov's being, they might as well be the same HP. One good Almagi salvo could quickly make this HP that HP, and this ship now trying to hide underneath the surface of the water, not just inside of the smoke screen. But we can see the Alpha Cap slightly more being, moving closer to being captured by Zoo. However, is this skid gonna happen? If you don't know, when you're on an island like that, the point at which you're stuck on the island is very important because it causes you to skid, because the island will push you off it a little bit. It's the anti-permanent stuck on it, and they do get the Alpha Cap, but the opponent team is now locking it, and that Kutuzov can easily shoot into this. Even blind shots, you know exactly where he is. And there we go, you see the capture now being locked, I think. There you go, just in and out, in and out. He needs the reverse, and you see it is the center of mass that matters, and it is just, this is the center of mass. That's the cap circle, just within inside of it. But, the Loyang not actually in a position to negate the capture, as the Edinburgh has taken a little bit more damage, I believe. Kutuzov now trying to blind fire the corner, but I don't think... Oh, mistake parked by the Loyang, not tucked properly inside of there. Almagi could potentially get some shots in there as well. And then we see the Kid recognizes that, has now torpedoed, but outside of hydro range, the torpedoes though will be spotted. Otherwise, on Bravo, Mega is also making a contest. The Kid over here should feel safe to be able to get back into this, knowing that the Loyang is now spotted on Alpha. Kid spotted, are we going to see some... gunfire going in? Yes, the Kid does smoke up, but currently the health is in the advantage of the Mega's Kid, who is MLGing back, does find a hit as the plane gets shot down. Will we see Zoo Kid trying to evacuate the sector or not? Currently, Mega, they need to get some capture points in there, otherwise they're going to bleed themselves out and not be able to finish off this best of 5 series yet. North Carolina shells mostly find an island, flying just over the Altago, giving her a new haircut. Still locking down the cap, and the Edinburgh still inside of here, being a bit of a nuisance, preventing the points income, but at this point, nobody's getting any points. And of course, if the status quo stays, this is of course favorable for Zoo, as they have, currently we can see, other than the Alabama being critically low on HP, we can see on the Mega side, North Carolina, set over here, critically low on HP. Edinburgh, tucked in there, critically low on HP. Kutuzov, unable to regenerate anything, critically low on HP. Loy Young being found currently engaged by Amagi and Kid, taking heavy damage. Could we see a kill versus this Loy Young here? Desperately trying to run away, dodging shells. Can the tail flicking come in handy? Can this guy survive? And can my Asia server connection and ping not screw me over and delay? But the Mega side now having Bravo Cap, they are gaining some income, but the Kid again locking in. AP salvo from the side. No, is that the Alabama across the map being able to find a hit? 1,772 health, needs to find 5 hits from the Kid or 2 from the any battleship that isn't the penetration. AP shells coming in. Invisible. I think he's dodged it. He successfully dodged it. Got away. Loyang planes being spotted again, and there you go. Sedova finally burnt down. Alabama HE picking up the kill. Definitely not bad. This game now in favor of Zoo, being able to enact against Mega, what Mega was able to do to them in the first 2 rounds. But that Loyang still taking a hammering. Kutuzov spotted 5,000 health, even lower health than before. Now opening fire. Are they going to kill the Loyang first? Are they going to kill the Kutuzov first? Which target is Zoo going to focus fire on? 881 health on that Loyang. Ooh, Kid also having taken massive damage. Now bled down to 3,200. Mega is in critically bad condition right now. Nobody in a position to make any push. And we see the Ottogo now pushing down the Edinburgh on the eastern side of the map as well. There we go, spotted. Is the Ottogo going to take torpedoes? Did she have hydro torpedoes? Edinburgh missing them. And will we see another Mega parking? Oh dear. Another 300-point turn in the middle of the map. And Veritas can just easily push that, knowing that the Edinburgh does not have any torpedoes. Can just go around the corner. All of the torpedoes are now passing. This Edinburgh is probably about to find herself stuffed. Unless Amagi AP salvo from the front. Nope, just looks like 2 overpens. Unable to save the Edinburgh, probably about to find itself going down sometime soon. But Loyang and Kutuzov, critically low on HP, are still alive as... Oh! North Carolina, Blatz KM8492 on the flank over there. Veritas now alone, however, Kid providing some fire support against the Edinburgh. Veritas, I think, did make a bit of a mistake. He just needed to go in there and seal the deal against the Edinburgh when he was stuck on the island with no way to reverse and no torpedoes loaded, but I don't think it's going to matter. Veritas would still find this kill coming in. It's just a matter of how much health would Veritas have lost if the push had gone through. There we go. Target, enemy cruiser destroyed, and now able to finally capture the Bravo Cap, with the points already in favor of the Zoo team here. As the Amagi taking a massive hammering look at all of those HE tracers going in, 16,000 health and still bleeding. Loyang there, 881 health, spotted by the dive bombers. Is this a loaded bomber? All it needs is 1 hit on the right position. That Loyang will be finding itself going down. Even torpedo bombers are coming in. The island forcing a bit of a bad turn. Can we see a commit? Carrier circling here. Loyang, ooh, is it going to be a right turn? Strafing coming in. It is too late though. All 4 torpedo bombers drop. Kutuzov finds the kill. It is irrelevant in the end. Loyang goes down, not able to hang in there just at the end, finds itself sunk in a combined effort by the carrier and the Kutuzov. Amagi now on what seems to be double fire. Everyone will be running fire prevention on Amagis at this kind of a level of play. So double firing, you can see on the ticking, it's not going that heavily, but it's still heavy enough to knock out an Amagi on no health with no heal or damage control party to counter it. Kutuzov now spotted 911 health, likely to be the next target to go down here. And there we go, shells coming in. Alabama might... Nope, Alabama Dispersion says, nope, you live for now. 911 health, Kutuzov. But more HE spam, Kutuzov, Kid, and probably the Amagi coming in as well. 614 health, soon to find itself even lower than that. Kid picks up the kill, 2 penetrating hits against the superstructure, and secures the kill, leaving just the Shokaku and the North Carolina versus a very lucky to survive Alabama off in the distance. Overall, very well controlled by Sioux. This time able to aggressively move in, get the advantage, get the points, and secure and hold them throughout the entirety of the battle. This time allowing Zoo to pick up the victory against Mega. Now scores 2-1. Zoo, is this the turnaround? Is this the comeback? Who will win this finals of the Naval Force 9 on the Asia server Tier 8 competitive with 3 battleships, 1 aircraft carrier? And there we go, 970 points. They are taking 3 points 9 points every 5 seconds even. I can do basic mathematics, ladies and gentlemen. But there we go. Points coming in, 2 more ticks. Shokaku taking heavy fire, but I think she's going to survive. And there we go. Game ends in favor of Zoo this time, although 2-1 scores. How is this going to develop for the rest of the series? 3 matches out of 5 best of 5 played currently. Now, I seriously need a bit of a break. I'm going to be back in... you know what? Let me just try to enter the new training group. If it's already up. And then we'll do a quick perhaps a post-game analysis of the map just played, but I will need a little bit of break and to refill my water bottle. Because it ran out already. It's like a 1 liter bottle and I ran out of it. That's what happens when you do try to solo cast esports commentary, yo. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. More water. I need it. I think I've gone through 2 liters of water by now. Holy shit. Pro streamer, boys. Anyways, a quick post-game analysis, shall we, of these 3 matches. Let me actually get my... there we go. This going. Where's my Wi-Fi tablet pen? There it is. Overall, we can see that generally the deployments have been pretty similar, although in one match where we did actually see a bit of a yin-yang movement, we had one fleet going like this, and the other fleet with their main force pushing around like this. This was, of course, Mega on the south and Zoo on the north there. The second match, we saw a very unlucky pickup by Mega versus the Destroyer. They're dying very, very early in the game, but overall we see that the deployment seems to be either double kind of a kiting force on the western side of the map, or in even one case, a push through that. And otherwise, we also see kind of double pushes, you know, moving their way through the eastern side of the map as we enter our 4th game now. So let's have a look with strategies mostly evolving around the left and right side of the map, with also a Luoyang being parked itself into the middle of the map, usually by Mega. How is Zoo going to react to this? Let's find out. Loading in, we see North Carolina, Armagi, Edinburgh, Atalal, Kutuzov. Again, Mega running the same set. Ooh! Mega having now swapped out a Luoyang. They're now running with Double Kid versus Double Kid anti-aircraft on the menu here, with a large amount of plane floppage against still Double Alabama. Maybe they're worried about taking torpedoes, but in this case, we've now even dropped Double Kid, which is still less torpedo firepower than that of the Luoyang, because Luoyang at least gets 2 salvos to launch against a single target. But again, double Artigo means that they do have a pretty nasty ability to make some contests on the map, because that is really one of the things that matters here, the ability to contest on the map. Now, why is that important, you ask? Because this is a rather small map, and engagements have a tendency to happen at rather close range, and it is easy to push someone sufficiently far out of the match that you can find yourself being able to actually do some serious damage by getting yourselves into positions. And here we go, we see a headwind launch by the Shokaku. Planes from Zoo are going to arrive a few seconds earlier than planes from Mega if the Mega carrier does not do a headwind launch. Otherwise, deployments this time, with Mega not having their Luoyang, this means that the Bravo cap could see itself going in a slightly different way this time. How is Bravo going to be contested this time, and will it be contested at the start of the match? With both teams having 2 destroyers, it's basically 50-50 with what's going to happen there. We can see from Zoo's side they have a double Atco and double Alabama's heading to the western side of the map already, with the one kid likely making some kind of a screening move in here. Is it to catch off the Edinburgh? Is it to make a move on Bravo? Who knows? We shall see. But again, still torpedo bomber launch, and again, empty torpedo bomber launch from Danger 05 Shokaku on Mega side. Otherwise, we see now Athena now sailing away, but again, the critical aircraft are in the air. Fighters are what you need to get your fighters airborne and into the middle of the map fast. And if your field commander calls for you to make a dive bomber or empty torpedo bomber scout, if that has been determined by your strategy, you will just have to make it. And there you go, Kid anti-aircraft making a mess out of those torpedo bombers, still engaging them. However, Battleship AP comes in, 5k damage. That's 1 penetration and 1 over penetration from, was it that North Carolina or Amagi? I'm not sure, but more AP coming in. Ooh, just manages to evade them though, down to 40,500 in health. So a bit of a very unfortunate beginning, and now a smoke screen going up, engaging with main battery here. Likely going to find himself spotted. If he doesn't immediately smoke up, smoke goes in. However, his position now known. Did anybody get to snap another shot off? This is very important, not losing too much destroyer health in the beginning. Otherwise, we see North Cal on the west, so we see that Mega is rotating heavily to the western side of the map. Armagi and Kutuzov again being deployed over there to stop this. So the question is, how aggressive is Zoo going to be with a double Atco and double Alabama here, or are they going to drop a Alabama off and tuck it into this area to try to cut off Mega's forces over here and try to engage them and stop them from being able to make any fights in this kind of area, and either force them to go a long way around, or to take a fight, stand their ground and hold in Charlie, using these islands to try to avoid being engaged themselves. However, Edinlol here, is that in radar range? No, it isn't. 9 point... Ooh, that is just on the border, but the Edinlol was in radar range at a certain point there, because he is now being forced to run away. We can see that. But he is now out of range, so unlikely to be spotted anymore, with the Kid now spotted. However, Mega, again, aggressive move on Bravo with that Edinburgh. They did manage to get the cap, and they are now initiating a little bit of a points bleed. Ooh, check this out. Time Trace now. Not using the normal tuck yourself in island here to capture or lock down Bravo. Perhaps we'll see him using the open areas. Of course, impossible to torpedo, as the Zoo Kid this time does park safely. Is a reset coming in? No, it doesn't look like it, but that kid will have to get himself into the cap. This guy maybe just a little bit too far off the island. It's a very difficult proposition to get yourself parked in there absolutely perfectly, as health bar trades start being initiated on the western side of the map. However, KM slightly far behind, currently probably remaining undetected, as Alabama salvo goes out. Will it find a good hit against the Kutuzov? Invisible now. I don't know what's going to happen, but oh, look at that dispersion. None of them find their target though. Kutuzov, I think, just managed to turn in here. Oh, no. Kutuzov there. Just a little bit of an overlead. No damage from the Alabama. If those shells all impacted in the Citadel area, that could have been an immediate wipe at the start of the match. Very, very bad to lose one of your very important flank and push stopper ships, the Kutuzov that is. However, Mega still initiating their points bleed, as their Kid, now very low HP, ooh, still bleeding health. Why so? Did he fire his main battery and get himself detected? Taking a little bit more damage, but using a heal. This guy, how many heals will he have in total? I'm not sure if these players are using a BFT, a Superintendent, or just Survivability Expert, which we know, of course, they are using. and if they'll have concealment, AFT, and manual aircraft, and how much of their ship is spec'd for anti-air. Now we see Veritas Vincent now trying to make a move into the capture position, but having to chance a bit of a broadside from the Amagi, who is not in a position to actually engage. So I think Veritas is going to safely get in there. However, in this case, he may face a taking fire from the North Carolina over there, caught kind of between a rock and a lot of enemy shells that are going to be coming in. And now, of course, I do believe that the Edinlol is going to be in radar range. That is, of course, if planes are not going to be spotting him anyways. And yes, that is in fact true. He is well within the radar range of the Edinburgh if the Edinburgh does choose to do so. But of course, at this point, nobody really is in a position to effectively engage that. And at any point, the Mega Aircraft Carrier can just pop a plane in here and spot if necessary. And the North Carolina over here can always sneak a shot in. Ooh, nope. Has successfully reversed, but now potentially facing fire from the rear. Definitely aware of the North Carolina, but I think the cap is going to go into Zoo's hands here. So that means that the points will at least stop bleeding, as Zaflis over there has appeared to take a little bit of damage. And there we go. We can see the smoke screen going up on the normal position. This Kutuzov, however, is in a position, if you look at it, you can shoot just over the tip of this. Though the kind of the shell-eating area of the island kind of extends like this or something like that. So you just need to be aware of that. But if you're out in this kind of an area on the 1-2 line, if you smoke up there, you can shoot people inside of here. And if they're tucked in here or they're doing anything, they can easily bleed a lot of damage. But no radar available, so that's not really going to happen though. However, the smoke screen that is was placed there is there purely just to conceal him, probably from the air attack. But now we see, torpedo bombers going in, spotting the target, 15,000 health there, but they know exactly where it is. Did the army manage to snap a shot off? It does not look like it. Perhaps some bad coordination from Zoo's side. No spotting against the Kid. Does mean that I don't think the heavy damage is coming in. However, look, Alpha Cap is now being contested. The Kid did leave worried that AP shells could be coming in, knowing that his position is compromised. However, now we see that Zoo again, both teams liking to tuck a ship inside here. Definitely don't see a reason why you shouldn't. It is a position that is able to capture and hold Charlie. Although the ship that is there is kind of slightly useless for a large portion of the game, just there purely to prevent the opponent from being able to push in and lock down the capture. But now Zoo does need to try to be able to secure this side of the map, because currently Zoo is in points disadvantage situation. They need to be able to try to either remove these guys, get them to head in the other direction, or just stay away so that they can start to try to, get the, tighten the noose on their team, get them in, and prevent them from being able to actually break out of an encirclement, because that's what Zoo needs right now, because they are currently points disadvantage, although not by much. We're now approaching the halfway mark, not much left to go. Zephyr here, likely just being blind-fired at. He is currently very aggressively inside of the cap. So if the opponent team assumes he is here, they're not going to find any targets. Otherwise, the map kind of, again, boiling down to its slightly more static motion. However, Zoo does have the, disadvantage of having to make a move because they are points disadvantage. And if you look at their destroyers, the enemy destroyers are slightly higher in health here compared to NTKSK, who has suffered a very noticeable health bleed at the start of the game, losing 5k to battleship salvo across half the map at the start. And now we can see two Altagos without the Alabama in direct support, now trying to make a move here. Altagos versus Armagis, of course, both of these guys are equally capable of dealing heavy damage to each other. Armagi having 32mm of armor on basically absolutely everything on the ship, except for the belt and the torpedo bulge, which will resist, but everything on the deck, which is hittable by HE shells, is going to suffer large amounts of bleed to Altago HE spam. And now we see even the Kutuzov is trying to pitch itself into the fight, but these Altagos, with the North Carolina, Alabama, I keep messing this one up, but together these guys should be able to find themselves in a position to push down and at least push away an Armagi, who may find itself needing to be smoked up by the Kutuzov to be able to stay alive there. However, equally on the the western side of the map even, I can read maps. Mega's North Carolina group over here with the Octago not really able to find themselves pushing through the kiting force that Zoo was parked here either, so A is just being a bit of a stalemate. But of course, this goes in favor of Mega's team because of the fact that Mega can just keep the status quo and eventually they will take it to the victory. They currently have a just over 100 points lead, which means that losing a battleship will still keep them ahead on points, which is incredibly important here. Octago trying to blind fire Zephyrs. Ooh, that is in fact a hit. That's just lag on my end. Zephyrs being, of course, in the very, very obvious position. Ooh, there we go. Trying to reverse himself away from the obvious position. Anti-aircraft should probably just be turned off. Losing his engine now. He is just bleeding to blind fire from Mega. I think this is one of the few cases that I've caught throughout the this match. And oh, look at that aggressive Mega Edinburgh positioning here. Is it going to get punished by the Alabama ST here in the middle area of the map? Enemy Kid now also spotted. Let's see, Edinburgh, oh dear. Oh, gets away with not losing too much, but now, ooh, broadside to the Ottalol. So, broadside if you do, broadside if you don't, no matter what you do. This Edinburgh probably going to find himself in a really, really nasty situation. Needs to angle himself so that he doesn't get the Citadel to death by the Otago. Otago being the biggest threat at this point, which of course means that he is going to broadside the Alabama ST again. This guy is really, really caught in what you just say. A crossfire. It is literally 90-degree here, and here comes Alabama shells. Impacts, and looks like just a couple of penetrations. Rather underwhelming salvo here, but this Otago now being pressured by the Edinburgh, but HE salvo, 19mm of armor on a lot of areas. Torpedoes coming in. Will it find a hit? No, I don't think so. The Otago just able to reverse out on time. Front turrets should be able to pick up the kill on this Edinburgh, which will be disadvantaged. Otago now needs to launch a plane to spot the Edinburgh. Launch a plane immediately. It will be spotted for 10 seconds, and you should find yourself able to use it to knock out this Edinburgh, and there we go. Moving forwards, or the Edinburgh coming forwards, now spotting. Will there be torpedoes? Are there torpedoes in the water? I don't think there are, and there we go. HE salvo, 727 health, one more salvo needed, or a couple of HE shells from behind. Edinburgh will reload first, but bow on Otago, not able to find the kill against that, and there you go. Otago salvo return, just need to hit once on the bow. That should secure the deal. Are we going to find the blind fire going in? Otago healer going in, and there you go, picks up the Edinburgh. There goes Mega's, one of their incredibly important radar ships as, oh, I did not catch this. The Alabama SC now having pushed up, lost a noticeable amount of health, but shoots in return. Did it deal a massive damage to the Kid in the middle of the map? We shall see once the ship reveals itself again. Otherwise, Kutuzov and Almagy versus North Carolina and Otago. This fleet here is even winning. Is this the comeback of Zoo? Will this be a 2-2 match? And we have to see the final game of a best of 5. Or is Mega just currently having a little bit of a plan? They still have a 5 points advantage, but if Zoo gets themselves the alpha cap, and like I said, losing ships, they have the points to keep up with it. Let's see. Oh, never mind. Every ship is 100 points, except for losing carrier is different, but otherwise, all service ships are 100 points. But yeah. This Otago here being rather low HP, just needs to hide for a little bit and get some of the health regenerated, but a full HP Alabama here should be able to do some work against the Kutuzov and the Almagy if we can just have a plane here to spot the Almagy. Currently Almagy being sufficiently far away to be able to just dictate the course of the engagement, shoot whenever she needs to shoot. But otherwise we can see, map control wise, we see that the Zeus ships are basically in this kind of an area. Whereas Mega ships are kind of a little bit further away. They have about 25-30% less map control. That doesn't mean they're out of the game yet. Mega could get some kills on these low HP Otagos and come back into it. But speaking of low HP Otagos, this guy, Rita Rose, currently a little bit exposed with the North Carolina in a bow-on position. Kutuzov and Almagy pushing in. This looks like Zoo is in the mood for a comeback. They do not just want to go down without a fight. They're going to pick the pace up, and they're coming back into this game. Now the points advantage soon likely to fall into Zoo's favor again if nothing too extreme happens with some of these Otagos. And ooh, North Carolina here looks like a shot against the Otago in Charlie. Stuck in an interesting position over here. Needs to try to find himself getting out of that. But that dispersion though, Ooh, does find a hit. Looks like one overpen against the Artigo superstructure. Or a saturated penetration. This Artigo needs to find himself a safe position and a safe place to hide him, but there really aren't many of them right now. Caught in a crossfire between the Kid and the North Carolina, and if he moves out, he's going to get shot by the Army and the Kutuzov. So it is really up to this North Carolina... I keep saying that. Artigo and the Alabama to push back the opponent's Army to save this Artigo over here, who currently is really in a bad position. And also, the carrier needs to attempt to get planes over here and move her, the Shokaku closer. But it looks like the Artigo is attempting to disengage right now, right in front of the North Carolina. Gets away with that, does not get killed. Trying to hide behind the island here, but now exposing to the Kutuzov as well. Between a rock and a hard place and what happened at the Edinburgh, now Artigo caught between a potential of a crossfire here. Needs to just tuck himself behind this and just hide from the Kutuzov in the distance. But now, if the Army comes back in this kind of a direction, Artigo could potentially again... Nope, is actually safe there. So Artigo makes the correct move by hiding himself there instead of staying inside the Charlie Cap, which there is absolutely no need to stay at whatsoever. However, ooh, still taking fire. Oh, takes a hit down to 5,100 health. Really low over there. He needs to start reversing and hiding himself, but that North Carolina is just simply too much health here. Means he can have a lot of time to just play in the middle of the map, and there really isn't any firepower available to stop that. It's Alabama SD here. Needs to poke around the corner to engage that, but not really the world's most favorable angle to engage. We can see the engagement is coming through, so we'll see what happens to this North Carolina. Did he overcommit, and is he going to kill this Artigo or not? Otherwise, Mega now making a very aggressive move with that Army, trying to push down the Alabama and the Artigo together. And ooh, Ritsumi, low HP with the Kutuzov in the middle of the Alpha Cap. In the open, exposed as well. This looks like Mega still trying to stay in this game. And there we go, we can see North Carolina rear turrets not able to pick up the kill, however. Ritsumi still now very low HP, 2,000 health left, more gun turrets coming in. Ooh, is this Kutuzov going to get away with it? No, doesn't. However, North Carolina in the background, still rather low HP. Army trying to push through this. Are we going to focus on the Article or the North Carolina? Personally, I would have engaged and tried to eliminate enemy battleship before a heal comes through. And there we go. We can even see the smoke screen now through Bravo, concealing the North Carolina. Very aggressive move by Mega. They're trying to, despite potentially being disadvantaged, and there we go, we see North Carolina in the distance taken down by Armagi HE fire. But we are seeing that Mega trying just to wrap this game up, taking risky positions, aggressive positions, and they needed to because they had the the worst end, the short end of the stick when it came to map control. Ship-wise, however, we can see that they are basically equal. This Artigo is out of the fight, hiding behind an island. He needs to do that to stay alive. And this Artigo now also taking fire from the Armagi. Thankfully manages to dodge all that for him. And, ooh, Artigo still taking heavy fire. North Carolina, it looks like his push did not pay off. Taking a torpedo now seems to be flooding. And having fired, he is, of course, spotted inside of the smoke screen. Lit up, but nobody really in much of a position, other than the Alabama SD, in a position to engage. However, it looks like he might just go flooding. Flooding to death, and there you go, Kid takes the target. Speaking of kids, Kid there getting blasted by the Alabama SD, who dodges all of the torpedoes using the Alabama's superior evasive capabilities, using the better rudder shift and the better traversing rate of the turn radius of the ship, and evades all the torpedoes. And now this Kid finding himself stuck in a really nasty position. See, does manage to go invisible, however, no aircraft available to spot. But this guy should just be able to go around the corner and pick up the kill, box the guy in as the other Mega Kid now stuck on the island in front of a Armagi and another Kid. Looks like the Kid is being spotted either by the Armagi or the other Kid, but it doesn't really matter at this point. All of the ships on the Zoo team have, all of the battleships have very tough torpedo belts, able to resist a lot of torpedo damage. There you go, we can see Armagi front turrets as the Alabama ST picks up the Kid in the distance. Ooh, not able to get lucky enough against this one. However, he has no torpedoes available. And it's just an Artigo left here, so this Armagi is in the advantaged position, using rear turrets to engage the opponent's Artigo, pressure him away. A little bit of damage coming in, but that's the thing about Artigos. They have a tendency to take a little bit of damage here and there, which is still good enough for them. Now, NATO taking again the aggressive position in the middle of the map, locking down the points incoming Bravo, but they are advantaged for the moment until they lose The ship, however, look at that, 10 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, even if the ship goes down, the game is still secure, and Zoo, there it is, comes in, kill does not come in, but it wouldn't have mattered, 881 points secure. Zoo managed to pick up the win, second win, this is 2-2 here, right there, and very interesting game overall. It was advantage in Mega's hands, but Zoo controlled the game, they controlled the map, and they pulled themselves back through it, securing themselves a second victory, and again, their chance to get the victory here, 2-2, best of 5, last match coming right after this. Oh, reminds me I was supposed to look at the planes. Silly me. Let's go back and look at it. See, 1 from the Alabama, 12 from the Otago. Was this? No, this was the guy that was moving. This was the guy that was stuck. So he's obviously the one that gets the planes. Mega was trying to pick up the kill on him. Yeah, you can tell I've got a really good memory, right? You know, I can always just watch my stream. Yes, in fact, it was Veritas that was stuck on the Charlie area, hanging on for dear life, and he did succeed. He survived the match. But then we see on the Megas team, Kid, 20 planes shot down, Edinburgh 11, the other Kid 11. So that's already up to 42 planes, 54 planes, and over 60. So no complete deep. Oh, never mind, Shokaku got 10 as well. And Zoo's Shokaku only got 1. Now this is the thing you need to keep in mind here. Using fighters to get planes in a fighter engagement means that those fighters, unless they're under enemy anti-aircraft, and spotting them means that those fighters or those planes are not dying to get spots. And at tier 8, a lot of it is about spotting. Anti-aircraft over here, 1, 12, 8, 11, so not really that close to being deplaned on Mega's side. But Kage Athena in this game definitely fully utilized all of the Shokaku's spotting ability throughout the match. Oh, there it is. So, this is it, ladies and gentlemen, the final dance, the last match of this Asia tournament. This is Asia Naval Force 9, the grand finals of this event. And, well, we shall see. Both teams currently 2-2 on the scoreboards, equally having a chance, both of them having just as much chance, and of course same map and reasonably similar lineups. It's really just going to be down to who can get the early positions and a couple of good lucky salvos against the destroyers to get the points advantage and to hold it. So again, we're seeing that Mega, with their southern force, they pushed against the western side of the map and tried to take control of A, and Zoo tried to take control of C. So we'll see, are these teams going to rotate their contested areas now? Are they going to try to pull up some desperate last fantasy moves? Are either of these teams going to try to take a massive risk, or are they going to try to play it safe, see what their opponent is doing, use their aircraft carriers to try to scout their opponents out, scout their moves out, and see for themselves what move they would like to make for this last match of Fault Line, 5 of them in a row. I know certainly I would have gotten sick and tired of this map already after just 2 matches, but here we are, Asia grinding it out with 5 in a row. There we go, we can see Oscar X-Ray coming into to the game again. Interesting thing, that's actually Jason, one of the Wargaming, I think it's Korean community manager, I think, one of them. But interesting thing about training rooms, they can only hold 24 people, including in the undistributed players. So for those that didn't know that, you do need to keep that in mind. More water. Oh, seems like I believe that's Mega suffering from a bit of a network connection issue. Hopefully that can be a proper resolve, and we can see a great ending to this this matchup between two of Asia's clans fighting it out in Tier 8 competitive, 9 versus 9. 3 battleships, 1 aircraft carrier. I'm not sure if there are any destroyer limitations though. Don't know if they're just running old KOTS rules or anything. And there we go, we see teams are starting to ready up. So, with the last match of the, well, for me it will be day, but for them, of course, it is evening. So I guess we'll say the last match of this tournament session, final match series, something English. Good luck, have fun to both teams, and may the best take home the victory. Oh, did my game crash? No, it didn't. There we go, loading in. We can see on Mega side, double North Carolina Armagi. Zoo side, double Alabama with an Armagi. Still running double Artigo and the Kutuzov, both teams having one. So I'm assuming there is a 1 Kutuzov limit here as well. And this time both teams also running the kids. It looks like Mega has ditched their Loyang play in Bravo, maybe finding that it doesn't really have the utility and the power that they need it to have for their team and their strategy. With still running to Edinburgh, so they still have the available use of a radar to try to contest an opponent destroyers sat on capture points. Oh my god, I'm spotted. Who would have thought? But yes, let us see how the deployment will fan out. God damn it, you shot me? Fine, I'll shoot you too. And there we go, found the Shokaku. So let's see what kind of an aircraft deployment we have here. And Shokaku now also moving forwards. 1 fighter deployed. Likely we're going to see 3 fighters deployed from Athena and 1 torpedo bomber that's empty flown by Danger 05 on the opponent from Mega's aircraft carrier. Moving them about rather aggressively, trying to get some initial spots on the deployments of the fleet. And as of yet, we've only seen over the course of these last 4 games pretty much just 2 strategies. Either it's a west or eastern move, and it's really just a question of what each team does. So can we see for this last match some unique counterplays to each other's strategies? Both teams should now be comfortable with each other if they weren't already, probably being so, having likely fought against each other multiple times. But we see double Artigo, double US battleship heading towards the eastern side of the map towards Charlie. It looks like Zoo is going to try to make a heavy contest on the eastern side of the map, as one of the opponent's kids now gets spotted temporarily, but I doubt any shot would have been sent in her direction at this point, as the torpedo bombers look like they might be getting themselves caught. The torpedo bombers are still the slower of the Shokaku's totem planes, and there you go, instant chip, 1 plane shot down on the fighter from Zoo's side. Bit of an unfortunate loss. That means that Zephyrs here is going to have to try to pick up the pace and make up the losses here. Perhaps a cheeky defensive AA trigger from a invisible use. There we go. We have the anti-aircraft turned on. Are we going to see a chip here? And are we going to see any incoming AP shells here? Ooh, there we go. Double chip. The triples look like a strafe. Good strafe from the Zoo aircraft carrier. Picks up 3 planes for 1 loss to anti-aircraft. And we can see that ZFS should be safe to move, and now we see the Army spotted with North Carolina, so it looks like it's going to be main force versus main force on Charlie, but keep in mind that Zoo does have a bit of an advantage here because they have double lot to go, and Mega is running with 1 Edinburgh, yet to be spotted. But again, as usual, Bravo is being contested. Zoo heading slowly towards it with a kid, should now consider trying to reverse. With only half a minute left on the capture time, with torpedoes coming in, he may have to evade this, and there is no way he can actually get himself into the capture circle using his smoke screen at this point. He's also going to do some serious torpedo evasion here. Taking 1 here could spell doom for the Zeus team right now, meaning that they will have no real means to contest. But there you go, we can see that he should be safe. Torpedo successfully evaded, and the opponent kid out of the cap, so Nobody getting Bravo Cap in the beginning, and here we go. Oh, is he trying to... This could be nasty. Is anti-aircraft turning on? Anti-aircraft should be turned off at this point. And it seems the enemy carrier trying to poke it. Now knowing that the kid is in the cab, maybe doesn't want to risk the last two fighters over there. But Zephyr not using the bow on position. I think he's trying to, you know, go in, out, reverse. But he messed it up a little bit. You should be trying to do it from this kind of an angle. Torpedoes usually should be able to be spotted. And then just get in like this, turn, ram this just outside of it, then reverse, then go forwards and do a 3-point turn and enter yourself into there. Personally, that is how I suggest you utilize this island. But it looks like he's found his way into it now as well. And of course, enemy destroyer isn't here yet. So, you know, it could be potential that the opponent destroyer is trying to do the exact same thing here. Ass on towards here, stay safe, and take no risks. But we see Kutuzov now trading along with the Amagis, and on the eastern side of the map now, Artigo already initiating kiting maneuvers with the Edinburgh coming towards the middle of the map. Oh, Alabama ST here. If he stops there, is his position with the Artigo and the Alabama here? Is it just to punish the Edinburgh? If he tries to cut into this area, can North Carolina still fire Alabama, even fire main battery on the front? No, she cannot. She's going forwards with the ship, so pretty much just the Artigo here left to prevent this Edinburgh from pushing into Charlie. However, at this kind of a range, if the Artigo is using the accuracy module, could be very devastating against the Edinburgh. With AP salvo, if the broadside shot comes in, could even kill the guy up front with a single salvo, which would be a very, very big loss for Mega there. However, we can see that battleships are where they were spotted rather far behind, so there is a chance that Charlie's side here is just not going to be found. Oh, and the Edinburgh moving out a little bit. Artigo taking fire. Ooh, render please. There we go. The render comes in. Edinburgh, no, Alabama SC not in a position to contest Edinburgh. Maybe having used the radar, he's trying to turn the turrets, but that's not happening on time, mate. I don't think that's going to get a shot off. Alabama just too late. Maybe if the Alabama had stayed here, the Edinburgh wouldn't have come out, but that would have been fine because now the opponent's Edinburgh is inside of the Charlie cap, and Mega capping Bravo is going to initiate the points bleed versus Zoo again. Zoo, again, they'll need to find a way to get the points advantage and to be able to get into the game, stay into the game, and make a move without themselves being caught out or punished for it, and be able to regenerate points against their opponent. Currently, you can see 42 points bleed already, and it looks like Zephyr's there trying perhaps to get some torpedoes, waiting for them to load against the corner, but of course, let's see, nope, that is of course well outside of spotting range, but if of course the destroyer here is in the open, you know, perhaps here waiting to equally launch torpedoes, the kids on each side could find themselves having some fish to evade. Otherwise, the Alabama ST there tucking himself in here. Ooh, now finding the opponent kid, taking a while to render, but here USAP coming in. Does it find the damage? Nope, it just looks like a couple of hits from, well, one hit against it. So no major damage there coming in, but smoke screen's going up. Unlikely to find the kid being pushed outside of the cap. So Zoo still is not able to gain any points from it, and soon Mega will have the Charlie cap as well to further increase the already 42 points advantage that they have over Zoo. And they go every 5 seconds, 3 additional points will be coming in, so they just need 60 points. So to have the ability to lose a ship and still stay ahead on points. At least if this current rate keeps up. Amagi is slightly exposed right now, both of them are trading health against each other, and this is just the usual deal. Although this Amagi not inside the smoke screen of the Kutuzov, which plays a very small one. Unless it is, of course, expiring. I'm not sure. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Nope, it doesn't look like it's expiring. So, this Amagi likely to bleed himself out a little bit on health. A single plane fighter there, supported by a full HP fighter there. Perhaps cycling that could be advantageous. Trying to keep the fighters airborne and supported at all times. Veritas now, the guy last game to also park himself into the position to lock. Now in a one-on-one trade with the Artigo as the Alabama behind the island, unable to find a shot against the enemy Artigo over there. And the KM well outside of range, but oh, now they're just trading HE with each other. So it really is a fight that doesn't really lead anywhere in terms of health. However, if Zoo is able to push them away from Charlie, there is a potential, again, they can circle around, box the Edinburgh in, they just need one battleship up behind and a battleship or a cruiser to push down the front, and they can box in the Edinburgh, prevent him from being able to escape, and perhaps knock it out for a bit of a 100 points boost to the their team, because currently they will need that because they are falling behind. They've just fallen to the point where Zoo can, even if they kill a ship, Mega will still be in points advantage. And now their army on the western side having bled a large amount of health as well, but we can see a good chunk of the team are on green health, whereas on the Mega side, a lot of their ships, a lot more, have taken a bit of damage overall. But a fleet of 9 ships on half HP as the Alabama takes a bit of a nasty shot. Where did that come from? I believe, oh, it must have been from the North Carolina over an island over there, having just exposed a little bit too much. Probably a good broadside in there, dealt a good amount of damage to the Alabama. And again, unnecessary health loss, well, not necessarily unnecessary health loss like that, but health loss like that still puts you at a disadvantage compared to their battleships, and you will need this health advantage in the later stages of the game, because chances are you will be having to make a push at some point. Regardless, we can now see that Zoo, they are pushing into the cap with KM entering it. He is, of course, full HP, whereas Veritas, having taken some damage already, now currently trying to get himself out of the area to try to kite and actually get her guns into the game as well. Bow owns contestant, however, and nobody able to pressure the end lull. However, the points income has now been locked down, so that the situation isn't that bad. But Zoo, having finally acquired the Bravo cap, means that, again, now Zoo, with the Charlie cap locked, are going to be initiating a little bit of a comeback on the points and try to negate the points advantage that Mega managed to build themselves up with, still the ability to lose a ship without losing the match. But that's going to go away within the next 5 seconds. That the ability to lose a ship without losing the advantage is going to go away, and with a few more minutes, we're going to find the Zoo team finding themselves on the advantageous end of this match. And again, map somewhat equally split, however, the Zoo team slightly closer to the middle of the map compared to the majority of Mega's forces, North Carolina now kiting away. Although the Amagi on the west side of the map is trying to make some sort of a move-in. Although battleships-wise, the Zoo's battleship over there has bled a little bit more, likely to the Kutuzov, using the smoke screens just to deal heavy damage, and more HE spam. This is just typical tier 8 battleship play. You're just spamming HE at each other. With Amakis, it's actually kind of funny in an unfortunate way, but fun thing. If you're being shot at by HE, just show more broadside. You take, fun fact, you take less damage that way. Just don't suddenly have the opponent team load AP against you. So it's never a risk you want to take, because you never know when suddenly you're going to have AP shells coming in. At least I know I personally never really wanted to take that risk, because, you know, while we did spam a lot of HE at each other, we did also spam a lot of AP at each other in the EU Tier 8 competitive. Regardless now, Double Atco and the Alabama now moving very, very wide, trying to catch out this Edinlol. However, that tip of the island does prevent Bilibili from being shot there. And these Atacos now are just taking fire from the distance, not really able to achieve anything. Perhaps they are setting up for a push, as the Edinburgh now taking fire from behind. Kutuzov and Kid merrily spamming away. However, this guy can tuck himself in there safely. You kind of need a battleship to be able to make a move in either behind here or like here. But a move like this is very exposed. To be able to shoot this guy, catch him in a crossfire, and Alabama shells come in. Didn't seem to catch the damage. It looks like he's down to quite a bit low. I think my the health bar mod did in fact catch it, but now all 3 caps are contested. Nobody gaining any points income, but Mega cannot lose the ship now without being put behind, and it looks like losing the Edinburgh could be on the menu here if this article pushes in behind him. And it looks like the map pings are going in. It looks like the push is coming here. However, North Carolina in a position to stop that. This article caught in a very bad position now. Crossfire by the North Carolina. This guy needs to be the primary focus target. Zoo need to eliminate this guy as the enemy Kutuzov. They're still taking a little bit of damage in the distance, but they're now kind of being pushed away. But This Kutuzov having been relocated in an attempt to deal with the Edinburgh means that the western side of the map, this Amagi, who already was a health disadvantage, on his own now, he just needs to play very passive and hold on and provide whatever support the kid needs to sustain his position. There we go, we can see that this North Carolina making a very good move, using this tip of the island just to contest it into the area and pressure away the Article, stop the Edinburgh from being YOLO'd down. This guy needs to get himself away now. In fact, the Article over there, let's see, about to fall into permanent spotting range as well. No longer on fire, so without any aircraft, it's 9.7 or 9.1 kilometer surface detectability range on the Article, meaning that he does have a little bit of space to reverse while still being inside of the cap. However, fires again, probably spotted either by radar or hydro by the... Yeah, probably hydro with the Edinburgh, and if it's not hydro, he's going to get radar, so this guy really has no means to get out of this other than to reverse out of the cap, which means that it's going to be up to the Alabama, who is now also pushing in, to be able to push this guy out, but he's being pushed backwards. Maybe the Alabama here can get a shot. Nope, not looking, but oh, he's turning. I think he's aware, but maybe being called to engage something else. Priority for Zoo now should be to try to get rid of the Edinol and get into the cap. The Alabama now slightly broadside to the Edinburgh, but not be able to be engaged by this North Carolina. It is just the Article and the North Carolina trading. KM has no real reason to be inside of the cap at this point. It's all going to be down to the kills that they make at this point, and they really need to crossfire down and kill this off this Edinburgh, and I think that's what they're trying to do right now. But with 5 minutes left of the game, and look at the scores, 400 points. Keep in mind, battle started 300. This is developing somewhat slowly. Oh, torpedoes coming in against Zephyrs. Is he safe? Yep, he is definitely safe. And it looks like the Amagi here, who was originally health disadvantage, with Mega contesting mostly the Charlie Bravo side now, realizing the push is already being enacted. They're taking full advantage of it. They're coming behind. They're trying to make the move. They're trying to capture Alpha as well as Charlie and holding on to Bravo. So Zoo is now keeping control of the map that they need, with the Kutuzov also in a position to engage the Amagi and try to take his health away. But now focus on the Edinburgh, definitely the correct thing to do, as this Alabama ST over here also in a position to try to engage the stuff on the western side that is being pushed by their lone Amagi and the kid who's now spotted the enemy Kutuzov. Article here making a aggressive turn away from the North Carolina, loses a bit of health, launches however all the torpedoes, but they're probably not going to find their targets. Tip of the island should permit the North Carolina just to tuck himself forwards, and now a risky shot from the broadside from the North Carolina, unable to punish the Article, as now a destroyer on destroyer engagement on the western side of the map is coming in here. Kid versus kid, who has the advantage here? Ooh, the second kid also pitching in. Zephyrs may be able to find Time Tracer if no defensive anti-aircraft comes up, but the planes get completely obliterated. More shells going out. Ooh, Time Tracer, can you make it out there? 500 health, one more hit. The counter heal is going in, and he gets himself safe behind the island. Zephyrs now in a disadvantaged engagement against Tokitsukaze Kai over there as well. But both destroyers over there being low HP. Ooh, Zephyrs does invis fire down Time Tracer, unless of course the render just didn't occur on my end. And now the second hit in a position to engage Tokitsukaze. If he has a smoke screen, he can easily pick up the kill on him right there, or just push him down with the superior health, although of course need to be careful. North Carolina and Amagi could quickly make that health bar go boop. So yes, again, points advantage now in Zoo's side, and they're also capping Alpha, which is very good and very important for them. Edinburgh now still very interesting position that he has found himself in. Alabama over there using the full extent of the island just to creep down here, now reversing a little bit, knowing that he doesn't have a shot against his Edinburgh, but you can see they want him gone. The pings are going in. Will we see a flanking move against Edinburgh, or are we just going to see their team focusing on killing the Amagi and the North Carolina, currently exposed? This North Carolina having nobody nearby to smoke him either. If the friendly carrier can come in there and keep this guy spotted, or the kid does so, this guy should be able to be picked up before he is able to safely reverse himself away. Alabama SD and a Kutuzov, potentially even Kid firepower, and this Otto over there, able to deal some serious damage to him and pick up that kill. However, on the western side of the map, Imadio, now rather low HP, needs to start advancing in the opposite direction rather rickety. Losing a ship here on this side could mean that the opponent team, with no more support for your destroyer here, could mean that they could potentially get a comeback over here, but points advantage now severely taking in favor of Zoo. North Carolina exposed, Edinburgh taking down to 6,700 health, Alabama ST and the Kid engaging the Alabama, North Carolina even, I really am getting confused with these names. Not trying to get all the gun turrets on target, knowing that the North Carolina is trying to engage him. Inato goes down on the western side of the map, Kid now left on its own. Could potentially find themselves having the western side of the map contested on top of the forest, now tucked inside of here, killed and pushed down later on by the North Carolina, now coming in. Altago there taking down a 20,000 health North Carolina, desperate last move, entering the area. Altago launching torpedoes against this North Carolina. Will they find their target? Broadside shot takes down the Altago, slows down, torpedoes easily evaded, obviously. Launch there. Artigo shooting AP at the Alabama. Needs to stop the high explosives. This North Carolina needs to start engaging and destroying this Alabama. Alabama knowing what's up, probably going in to attempt to ram on the North Carolina. Focus on the Artigo as fighting on the other side of the map breaks out. Tokita Kazakai taking fire as well as the Army Blatzetius, the western side of the map on Zoo, completely exposed here. All of the focus and the combat going in on the middle area of the map. Rita taking 7,000 health left. Alabama over there, low HP. Taking HE fire. Is the ram going to come in? Sarova needs to shoot. Focus on the superstructure. Heal comes in. I think the ram is going to come in. Very, very advantageous trade for Zoo. Alabama just having the superior turn radius and maneuverability takes the kill down. And the Rift of their low HP 2.5k survives. Easily able to be engaged by 22,000 health out to go from Zoo side. Alabama SD. Broadside shots coming in over the island as he now pushes towards the western side of the map. Mega just not having the health. Altago goes down. 0 points left. Zero's time left on the match, very long, and it kills 500 points. Zoo picks up the win. Very, very tense game at the end there. Lots of fighting breaking out. Very unfortunate kills all across the board for both teams, but Mega just misses out. They don't have the points advantage anymore. They didn't manage to hold on to the cap. They lost their Edinburgh. They lost their Western destroyer as well. They lost, in fact, the destroyer that was contesting Alpha, which meant that the points actually started ticking on that side as well. Even if they did manage to pick up Imadio's Amaki over there, they were never going to have the time to come back. I never actually realized the game had been such dragged out that the 20 minutes mark expired, and Zoo played it better than Mega in this case. They had control of the map. Zoo having most of their ships around the middle of the map. They just crumbled, they just crunched on Mega, encircled them, controlled them, and they eliminated their ships one by one in the end. We can see Ottigo, Kutuzov, Kid, Alabama surviving. That's 4 combat ships versus 3 combat ships surviving in the end. And also with the points advantage having Bravo Cap, they eventually managed to acquire Charlie Cap. And for the caps mostly being locked in the earlier stages of the game, nobody gaining any points from each of them. Now in the end, once Mega started losing their ability to contest, losing their health on their destroyers, they also lost Bravo, which started taking what originally gave Mega around about 120 points advantage for Mega, was quickly turned into probably about 200 points in favor for Zoo, making up the 120 odd points that Mega acquired from it. Having a look at the planes, again, Kids and their anti-aircraft. Edinlon actually picks up 27. Zoo putting a lot of effort in trying to kill this guy, eventually pushing him down and securing that. Very interesting position in my opinion. You kind of get yourself stuck there and you have no real way to escape other than what we saw a nice hiding by was Veritas, who unfortunately didn't survive this round here, but he survived on like 5,000 health previous match, having himself tucked in behind the island you can see behind the scoreboard here. Anyways, good game to both teams. Well played. It was quite a interesting match, well, series of matches for me to cast here, coming from an EU server meta where we've swapped now to 2 battleships at most at tier 8. One Kutuzov, of course, and, well, previously from the past KOTS and League of the Sea matches that I've been participating in. And, of course, Kid wasn't a thing back then, so anti-aircraft was definitely a different thing entirely. But this being a rather smaller map, and a map I've personally never fought on in a competitive environment before, Ranked is not competitive, by the way. But never having fought a team game on this map in any of the recent times with the 9 versus 9 format, it was definitely interesting for me to see the ways that both of these teams were making small nuances and very small changes to their strategy, taking chances with their opponent team and moving about, and we saw that in the end, Zoo just managed to pick up their 3rd win against the 2 wins that Mega made against them in the early game, picking up the pace, gathering themselves together, consolidating, and managing to secure their 3-2 victory in a very well-fought game at the end. So congratulations to Zoo. You guys have taken the victory here. That's what I'm trying to say. Secured the victory, taken it, and yeah. My throat is completely bugging now, though. But yes, very interesting. Let's have a. I guess we can do a very quick. Where is it? Post-game wrap-up. Here we go. With the map. You can see again, most strategies was pretty much this yin-yang movement around the map, but we saw in the end, very, well, with Mega, they really enjoyed parking, first of all, their Loyang in the beginning, the stages where they got the first 2 wins. They had a Loyang parking, beginning of initial points and applying the bleed and pressure against the opponents. But they also, both teams liked to eventually move cruisers into this kind of an area over here, be it their Edinburgh, which had radar and pretty good anti-aircraft, or the Artigo, which was pushed in like this, or I don't think anyone actually moved in like that, but they moved the Edinburgh, oops, they did like moving their Edinburgh in like this, using this island to stop. And if the Alabama over here in the last match perhaps had been ready, maybe the Edinburgh could have been blattered, but it didn't turn out to matter in the end because, well, Zoo did manage to pick up the victory, securing themselves a 3-2. Otherwise, for the most part, it was the kiting force over here, and a kiting force over here, normally you're seeing ships like Armagis and Kutuzovs, very useful for this kind of a job. I don't even know about which colors I'm supposed to be using now. Let's see, let's just put red down here with a red battleship, and green cruiser and green battleship. Of course, this being a 3 battleship lineup, you did see from Zoo's side double Artigo and double US battleship, but they never really consolidated the forces to make a combined blob push. Not necessarily being the best thing overall, but usually it kind of boiled down into rather stalematy play on both here, and again another stalematy play here and here, with a battleship either here, or somewhere around the back end, A US battleship serving as an anchor, trying to punish people making moves across the sides, and using that just to try to, get shots on people, and overall just to prevent free movement in this kind of an area, and to provide fire support for the destroyers in the middle. And really, it was the destroyer gameplay that mattered. Who could get the caps on B, who could lock down better on A, and of course, losing destroyers to opening torpedoes in A really, really cost, I think, was it Zoo, one of the early games that they lost to Mega. I think it was the second match where that happened, or was it the third where it was a turnaround and Zoo managed to torpedo down one of Mega's destroyers very early at this position over here. But otherwise, you would mostly see, destroyers. Okay, fine, there we go. Destroyers using this area, and destroyers using... Oh, never mind. Come on, icons, please. There we go. Destroyers using this island. This is just a design of the way frontline works in a standard match, where you see that ships here and ships here could just permanently lock it down. To be able to engage them, you kind of need to be able to... you can kind of imagine... let's not use red. Let's just use a nice pink, shall we? I like that color. Don't ask me why. To be able to engage the destroyer there, you kind of need to be to the north of that, or to engage the destroyer here, you need to be out like that. So you can kind of see that to be able to actually effectively get shots on target, you kind of need to start moving your ships out of this kind of an area or out of this kind of an area to actually be able to shoot at the opponent destroyer. Now, of course, the northern side has a bit of an advantage here because their destroyer can always just run around like this and he'll be safe from whatever's pushing down the western side. Whereas the southern destroyer, the guy that's parked over here, he'll have to go all the way around the island to get himself safe from anyone shooting down here. In fact, it might have been better for him to just reverse and tuck himself properly into the island if the target is even closer than this kind of an area, because the island can protect him from some salvos. But yes, I think that's it for the post-match analysis on my end. Didn't really go too deep into this, of course. That's because I don't have much experience on playing this map myself. So it's really just my observations from my experience, having played multiple King of the Seas in the past, won 3 of them for EU server, and my clan, and of course Omni now, the top EU clan battles clan, although I didn't really field command much of the game, I definitely did play them, so I have some experience, and this is just what I am now applying to this map, which, like I've said multiple times by now, never myself played in competitive. Anyways, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this tournament cast from my end. I hope you guys also enjoyed my commentary. I am getting mentioned that some of you guys are struggling with the Twitch chat. Give it an F5 and a refresh on the page. Hopefully it'll work. But I would love to hear your comments on what you guys think about my commentary on this. Would you like to see me do things differently? Of course, I'm not a regular caster of World of Warships competitive. And realistically speaking, it's a really, really slow game, so trying to do it with this super aggressive esports commentary style may not be the best. It definitely isn't for my voice. But regardless, I definitely do hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely do hope you would enjoy tuning into content like this if I do get asked to come cast more games. And I hope it was entertaining for you guys. So with that, I would like to thank, Wargaming Asia for having me and for organizing this. And yeah, I will catch you guys hopefully some other nice time. Good games to both teams.